presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Wisconsin.
It's a Wednesday night for baseball on Fox Sports Wisconsin, and we welcome you from PNC Park in Pittsburgh. The Brew Crew and the Buccos tonight, game 2 of this 3-game series. Pitching matchup tonight, left-hander Jeff Locke will get the call for the Pirates, and Chase Anderson, his first start of the second half, his 18th start overall this year. And hi, everybody. We welcome you from PNC Park. Great to have you with us tonight. It's a beautiful night for baseball. I'm Brian Anderson along with Bill Schroeder. Sophia Minard is our reporter tonight. Well, last night, the Brewers lost the game. It was a walk-off for the Pirates, but there was a bright star in last night's game. He came up with a big hit. That was Hernan Perez, and this guy just continues to impress. He's taken advantage of every opportunity he's had.
Yeah, he's been very versatile, and on this road trip, he's become a run producer. 5 RBIs. Craig Counsell just can't get him out of the lineup. I mean, he's got a good approach up there at the plate. Fastballs, he's been able to spray up the middle, opposite field. And every now and again, when you make a mistake inside, he's going to knock one out of the ballpark. A big hit in yesterday's ball game in the 9th inning to tie the game against the Pirates closer. And certainly Hernan Perez is certainly a nice story for this Brewers ball club. And not only with the bat, but has shown some versatility in the field, playing a lot in third base, and as all of a sudden he's figured out a way to play right field. So Hernan Perez is not only just a guy that's been swinging the bat well, he's been very versatile defensively, and the more positions he can play on a regular basis, the more times he's going to get a chance to get in that everyday lineup.
Well, it looked like he might be out of the big league game because of his lack of versatility, but turned himself into an outfielder. He is a proud Venezuelan, came up as a shortstop, checked the ego to play multiple positions. He was taken off the Brewers roster last year, re-signed with the Brewers thinking he had an easy way back to the big leagues, and he has accomplished that. Give him a lot of credit. Hernan Perez in the lineup tonight, playing right field. We got game 2 coming right up. It's the Brewers and the Pirates, the lineups and the first pitch as the Brewers try to pick the lock. Jeff Locke, the left-hander, on the mound for the Buccos tonight. Just about ready for tonight's first pitch, downtown Pittsburgh. And tonight's game on Fox Sports Wisconsin is presented by Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. The Allegheny River is the setting. Right on the banks is PNC Park in Pittsburgh. It is 84 degrees. Perfect night for baseball tonight. Brian Anderson with Bill Schroeder and Sophia Menard. Craig Counsell, skipper of the Brew Crew, trying to win here in Pittsburgh tonight. The Brewers matching up for just the 5th time all year against the Pirates. You're going to see a lot of them over the next 30 days, however. And Counsell's Potawatomi batting order tonight looks like this. We got Jonathan Villar back in the leadoff spot. He's hitting .299 coming in. Then there's Hernan Perez. Right field tonight with the left-hander on the mound. Ryan Braun hits third. Middle of the order is Lucroy, Carter, and Jeanette. Middlebrooks, Flores, and Anderson round out the starting 9. You got a couple of lefties in there in Jeanette and Flores, facing the left-hander Jeff Locke.
Yeah, 8-5, but the earned run average really doesn't match the record 8-5, a .526 earned run average. He hasn't made a start since July 6th, but he did make an appearance out of the bullpen for the Pirates right before the All-Star break. That was July 10th, so first start for him in a couple of weeks. And making start number 14 career against Milwaukee. He's currently 5-5.
All the pieces in place. We're ready to play ball tonight as Locke deals to Villar, and the first pitch is away for ball 1, and away we go from Pittsburgh. Boy, what a great night for baseball it is tonight. Glad you could be with us this evening. Brewers dropped 2 out of 3 here in Pittsburgh in mid-April and then lost last night. Tough loss last night as the Pirates, in walk-off style, it was an error, throwing error, that allowed the winning run to score. But a good ball game overall. The Brewers had a nice comeback. Hernan Perez with that 2-out, 2-strike RBI single off of their closer Melanson to tie the game in the 9th inning. And then Josh Harrison had a triple and scored the winning run on the throwing error. So the Brewers have lost 3 straight to Pittsburgh. Got 1 more to play in this series tomorrow night. That'll wrap up this series and this road trip. And then the Brewers are headed home to face the Cubs, the Diamondbacks, and these same Pirates. Long homestand coming up. Villar takes a ball high. All 3 losses in the second half of the season have been 1-run losses, and all 3 of them very tough losses. That last one in Pittsburgh in particular. I should say the last one in Cincinnati, and then last night. Got Matt Garza on the mound tomorrow for the finale. Villar takes ball 4, so the Brewers get a man on to start this game. And the Major League's leading base stealer in Jonathan Villar is aboard. Well, I check out the Menards Pirates defense. Well, the star both at the plate and in the field was Josh Harrison at second base. He made a couple of very nice plays last night. Both of them coming against Ryan Braun. Very athletic infield. One of the best defenses in all of baseball. They don't commit too many errors. Harrison stellar defensively last night and back at second base. His normal position this year. Clint Hurdle changing it up a little bit at third base and first base tonight. He's got Jung Ho Gung in there third, and David Freese slides over to play first base. Last night it was Freese at third. And with the left-hander Locke as Perez singles into left field, a base hit. Yeah, just red hot and got a fastball in on him, able to get the barrel of the bat on it. We talked about him when we came on the air. Not only is he getting hits, but he's driven in 5 runs so far on this road trip. Fastball in, and look at the way he clears the hips. Gets the barrel of the bat on it. So a good start for the Brewers. Well, if you watch Perez swing and you think a little bit of Miguel Cabrera, there is a little bit of that in him because he was with the Tigers organization. He tried as best he could to model that swing and the approach at the plate. Of course, Cabrera, one of the great hitters of all time. But Perez learned a lot by watching Cabrera in Detroit. But just like Cabrera, I think he's thinking up the middle into right field and reacts inside. And he's been doing that very well. Here's Ryan Braun with 2 on, nobody out. He takes a strike.
Ryan with a .313 batting average. He is just inside the top 10 in that category. He's currently 9th in the National League in hitting. Daniel Murphy still leads the league in hitting. He's batting .352. Looks like he's on his way to a batting title this year. Braun a chance to drive in some runs early here tonight. Little tapper, and it hits Braun. And Jerry Davis, or rather Sam Holbrook, home plate umpire, saying he was still in the box. Boy, and somebody just got thrown out. I believe that was Clint Hurdle. There was a lot of barking coming from the Pirates dugout.
That's pretty close. You got to have a foot in that box if the baseball hits you, and I'm not sure. Sam Holbrook right on it. And Clint Hurdle not too happy, and he was barking pretty loud out there.
It is a little surprising that the reaction from the Pirates was that vocal this early in the game.
Right. Well, they're figuring it's a big situation with Ryan Braun at the plate in the first inning. He is upset.
It'll be the 5th ejection of the season for Clint Hurdle.
Well, let's check it out. Ryan Braun, little nubber, and see where it hits him. It looks like that was pretty close. I think it looked like, both feet might have been out of the batter's box, but not according to home plate umpire.
Yeah, and that was Hurdle. We could hear that. Weren't sure if it was coming from the manager or a coach, but that was certainly Hurdle, and he has established his presence in this game and maybe the importance of this game right away with his ball club.
Right.
And he is out. So the manager is gone. Braun still at the plate. Clint Hurdle got to see 2+ batters in this game. He'll watch this one from the clubhouse.
And the Brewers get a break. It looked like that was pretty close. It could have been called an out. Ryan Braun still at the plate.
Well, it is very interesting that the last time Hurdle was ejected from a game, Sam Holbrook threw him out. That was back on July 3rd, and that was in Oakland. So the same home plate umpire.
Yeah.
Hurdle was ejected in that game for arguing balls and strikes, and he quickly let Holbrook know that he was in the dugout and not pleased.
Maybe
and
that's a little backstory. It gives you maybe an understanding why he was so upset.
One ball, 2 strikes on Braun. Two on, nobody out. And Braun, oh, what a play by Gong to second for 1. The throw to first in time.
Oh boy,
that's why he's there.
The defense for the Pirates, I mean, all season long has been very good, and they have taken 3 base hits now away from Ryan Braun. Great plays last night by Josh Harrison, and now Gong. And not only does it cost him a base hit, but it ends up being a double play. That's a pretty good defense.
Well, Clint Hurdle has set up his lineup today based on defense. Yesterday, Freeze over third base. You had a strikeout pitcher on the mound and Taillon. You didn't figure there'd be many ground balls at third, but you do figure there's going to be a lot of activity over on the left side with Locke pitching. And right away, it pays off for the Pirates. Heck of a play by Gong, who is a shortstop by trade. And now 2 outs for Lucroy.
Ryan Braun hitting in some really bad luck in this series.
Harrison took away 2 hits last night, and now Gong gets him today. VR's got a big lead at third, and Lucroy will take a strike.
Yeah, he's trying to get into the head of Jeff Locke. He's about halfway to home plate by the time Locke gets rid of it. And Gong not budging. He's playing way behind the bag.
Lucroy takes one high. 2 balls and a strike on Jonathan. .305 batting average coming into play with 12 homers. 45 runs driven in. He's talking to Lucroy before the game about his all-star experience. Said he had a trip to the Bahamas all scheduled, but he was glad to be named an all-star again. It was a great honor, he said. He goes, I'll gladly take that trip in the offseason. And Lucroy participating in his second all-star game.
He said he was able to take a lot more in the second time around. He said the first time a couple of years ago in Minnesota, kind of a whirlwind, and didn't know what to expect, but said he enjoyed it quite a bit this time.
There's a strikeout to end the inning. Great defense by Gung helps Locke get out of a mess in the first. Hurdle ejected. We go to the bottom of the first inning. Best friend, but for Jeff Locke, it's hug worthy of his third baseman Jung Ho Gung after taking a hit away from Braun, turning it into 2. And Clint Hurdle is no longer managing this situation. Dave Jouse, the bench coach, will take over. Hurdle ejected in the top of the first. So here is the Hurdle lineup, though. Brought to you by Potawatomi. He's got Gregory Polanco, Starling Marte, Andrew McCutcheon at the top. David Freese, Francisco Cervelli, and Jung Ho Gung in the middle with Josh Harrison, Jordy Mercer, and Jeff Locke. Rounding out the starting 9 that will face right-hander Chase Anderson.
Yeah, Chase Anderson needs a turnaround start, not just to get a win, but to pitch deep into games. He's had a difficult time his last 5 starts. He's 0-4. His last win came on June 8th. That was a win against the A's, so he's due.
Polanco in the leadoff spot today. Just returned to the active roster yesterday. Had been out with a hamstring injury. About 3 weeks on the disabled list for Gregory Polanco. And they've got him in the leadoff spot here tonight. Jaso hit leadoff last night. Jaso sits for this one. I believe it's the first game all year. Yeah, it's the first time this year Polanco has hit leadoff. Typically hits second, a little bit of third. Great talent coming up through the Pirate system. Part of that terrific outfield. They might have one of the better defensive outfields.
Yeah, no kidding. They can run. They can chase him down out there. There's big gaps here in this ballpark. You have to have a pretty fast outfield, and they do. Marte, McCutcheon, and Polanco.
There's always a little anxiety in center field these late summer starts. The sun sets just above or to the left of the home plate grandstand and right into the center fielder's eyes. So anything in the air in these first few innings can be an adventure. There's a pop-up long run for VR. He's the only one over there, and he makes the play. Wow, what a catch that was. Covering some ground, Jonathan VR.
He got a great jump and certainly has enough speed to be able to run it down. Well, that shift makes some interesting plays out there. You can see he's the only one on the left side of the infield and makes that one relatively easily. Easy for me to say. He was on his horse and able to catch up to it.
Boy,
Nice.
so fast.
Yeah, he is. Never took his eye off the baseball and had it all the way.
That's a routine pop-up for a third baseman in a normal defensive configuration, but that's a tough play on a shortstop.
Yeah, what's normal these days?
All right. I think normal, the old normal is abnormal.
Unusual.
He's huffing and puffing and ran a long way for that one. Starling Marte with one out. Marte 0 for 3 last night after his dramatic home run Sunday, a game winner in Washington. Pirates have won the last 2 games in their last at bat on the road in D.C. in 18 innings on Sunday, and then last night.
Yeah, but the Brewers have lost their last 2 games on the last at bat. 2 walk-off losses.
Marte hits it sharply to center, and Flores will chase that one to the wall. Marte into second base with a double. That was smoked into center field.
I'm not sure how well Flores saw that one off the bat. I mean, that Sunfield is really bad right now. Playing it safe. They're playing deep out there. And Marte hits this one awfully hard into center field. You can see the bright sunshine, and Flores a little bit of a late break on it, but it was going to be a double anyway.
Gives you an idea how hard he hit it. Flores plays so deep anyway, and he was still able to get it by him. It wasn't that far from him. That's the setting sun, and just to the left of home plate from the center fielder's perspective.
Yeah, center field and a little bit out and left. Ryan Braun's been shading his eyes out there too.
So it'll be Andrew McCutchen with a runner at second base. Pulls one foul. McCutchen is having a down year. Still decent power numbers. He's got 14 home runs, 38 driven in. He's been productive, but the batting average is very low for the former MVP. And they are hoping for a hot streak from now until the rest of the season for Andrew McCutchen. He's got the kind of bat that can carry a ball club. He's been doing it here for a number of years.
Got a few guys who can carry a ball club. This is a very good lineup on paper. They really haven't hit their stride as a group. Always seems to be around that 300 mark.
McCutchen takes a strike. McCutchen still the unquestioned leader of this Pirates ball club. He's 29 years of age now. His MVP season was 2013. But he did match his RBI totals from that MVP season. Last year he drove in 96 a season ago. Hit 292. 23 homers last year. His career high is 31. That came in 2012.
That's a lot of home runs in this ballpark.
Yeah, sure.
This is a big ballpark, particularly gap to gap. You get him down the lines, you're in pretty good shape. 410 out in left center. You got to hit him to get him out of here.
He's had 5 consecutive years of 20 or more homers. And his career best, that 31 home run season. He's got 14 right now. Runner at second, and McCutchen pulls one foul right by his third base coach.
Very quick hands, a very quick bat. He can handle anybody's fastball.
PNC Park, one of the tougher ballparks to hit one out in. AT&T Park, home of the Giants. You got the Marlins, a big ballpark, Turner Field, Kauffman Stadium, all big ballparks and good pitching staffs with most of those those parks.
Yeah, that has a lot to do with it too. Kind of pitching you're facing when you come.
Full count to McCutchen. Pirates are threatening in the first. They got a double with one out from Marte. Brewers coming up empty in the top of the first. And McCutchen, a little pop-up foul territory. Carter is over. He can't get it. Another good crowd on hand tonight at PNC Park. They drew over 27,000 last night. Great to see this ballpark with a lot of fans here, and it's an intimate setting. They can pack it up to about 39,000 if you use all the standing room areas. But it's a beautiful place to watch a game. And the Pirates are starting to zero in on that wild card spot right now. They still have hopes to win a division, but they're 8 back to start play today.
Yeah, they're still thinking about catching the Cubs. They still have visions that they can do that.
Anderson deals. McCutchen a swing and a miss. He struck him out. Changeup from Chase Anderson.
Real good pitch that time. Hey, let's check out the Menards Brewers defense here tonight. Got Middlebrooks getting a start over at third base. That's his third start on the road trip over at third. That moves Perez over to right. Braun Flores in the outfield. VR, Jeanette, Carter, and Lucroy round out the Brewers Menards defense tonight.
Make it 2 outs, man on, and here's David Freese now. Let's take a look at the strikeout offering from Anderson to McCutchen.
Yeah, good changeup right there. Look at it going down and in, has some depth to it, and McCutchen nodded the head saying nice pitch.
Said you got me.
Yeah.
That's got to give you a little confidence. A former MVP. I'm not sure I'd throw him another changeup though the rest of the night.
He might be sitting on it, right?
The former Cardinal David Freese. He's been with the Angels the last couple of years. He's done a good job for the Pirates this season. Comes in at 286. He's driven in 39. 10 homers. Plays a little third, a little first base. Tonight at first.
Great opposite field power for David Freese. He likes to drive the ball into the gap out there in right center.
The Pirates RBI leader is Polanco. He's driven in 50. Freese is third on their club in ribbies this year. Josh Harrison hits down in the bottom third of the order. He's second. Boy, loses the bat. Helicopters that one into the stands. And it missed everybody. It actually landed in the walkway. But a fan has a souvenir. That's a big league bat to take home. Well done.
Another changeup, and this time Freese way out in front. Watch the top hand, and the bat goes spinning into the stands, and everybody's all right. You know you've got a good changeup when you see guys do that.
Big leaguers used to try to bargain to get their game bats back. Not anymore. They got plenty of them. That skips by Lucroy. Anderson going with a breaking ball there. And that'll be a wild pitch that puts a runner at third base.
It used to be the gamer used to be gold, and you didn't want to give it up. Guys don't care anymore. All the bats are good. Not sure what that was, but it bounces way in front of the plate.
Now, Sophia talked to Derek Johnson, the Brewers pitching coach, before the game, and he did talk a lot about Anderson and his stuff, and obviously there's a very small margin for error with Chase, but he was hoping to see more of the curveball today from Anderson. There's a changeup and a strikeout. Anderson cuts down McCutchen and Freese with a runner in scoring position. We're off and running at Pittsburgh. No score. the Allegheny River. Boy, a beautiful night for that too. Brewers and the Pirates ready to go to the second inning. Chris Carter will lead off for Milwaukee. He tops the Powerball home run leaderboard with 22. Carter has not homered since the 8th of July. Hoping to jump on a home run binge here. Brewers are coming home after tomorrow's game, starting up a series with the Cubs on Friday night. Carter did have a double yesterday. He ripped one into the notch, they call it, in left center field. So he'll lead off this second inning against Locke. And then the Brewers with a couple of left-handers in the lineup we may see here, with Jeanette due up next, and then Flores batting 8th in center field tonight.
Yeah, Scooter getting a lot of playing time against lefties these days. He's done a good job against them.
Wave and a miss.
Change up takes a little off, has a little cut to it. Jeff Locke not afraid to come inside with a fastball. He's got the fastball in the low 90s, good change up, and he'll throw a curveball. There's that change up right there. He's been pitching well. He's won 6 of his last 8 decisions.
Oh, he can get it going. He's a guy that's had a lot of success as Carter just reaches out and hammers one to left field. That is going to bounce off the top of the wall, and Carter will roll into second with a double.
How about that, one-handed? Another changeup. This one up a little bit, and Chris Carter out in front, but able to keep the bat in the zone long enough. Knocks it off the top of the wall. Check this out. Boy, a little flick of the wrist, and Chris Carter nearly hits a home run. Straight away left field. Check that out. I mean, that's all hands. He didn't even use his lower body. That's how strong he is. That ball just jumps off his bat and nearly hits one out.
I missed a home run by inches. It's a double. Starts the second. And back-to-back innings with a man in scoring position. Now Jeanette is up there. And a strike to Scooter. Let's see how close. Ooh. Wow, the fan reached out.
Went right through his hands. It's a good ways out there. I mean, it's 379 out there, but it plays a lot deeper than that. Not sure it was the wind, the humidity, the effect of the river, but the ball doesn't carry all that well here. It's 399 to center, but you very rarely see big home runs to center field in this ballpark.
Well, Jeanette will try to move him. Scooter's handled left-handers well this season. That's been one of the bright spots this season as Jeanette swings and misses, and down he goes on strikes.
I had to figure out a way to put that one in play and get Carter over to third base. That's been the issue for this Brewers offense, making contact in situations like this. If nothing else, if you're not going to get a hit, get Carter to third base.
Now Will Middlebrooks with a runner at second. And that skips away from Cervelli. Carter will end up at third. So the Brewers advance their runner regardless. And now a chance to score a run without the benefit of a hit, perhaps.
That just wasn't able to slide over quickly enough. I don't know if it was a changeup or a curveball, but one that Cervelli would probably tell you he should have been able to block.
Cervelli just got back from the DL yesterday as well. Had a broken bone in the wrist. Middlebrooks with a runner at third. Shift is on for Will. 3 infielders on the left side, and they've got him in a little bit. And try to cut down the runner at the plate if it's hit right at an infielder.
And not very good speed at third base, obviously, with Chris Carter.
key stretch here for Will Middlebrooks. Made some changes to his swing, went down to AAA, had a bit of an overhaul, not a lot that you could see with the naked eye, but for a hitter that's hit one way his entire life, he was saying he had to rearrange his thinking a little bit and how he hits and how he sees pitches, and he did a good job in AAA. He swung the bat well down there, and he gets another chance in the big leagues. He draws a walk here.
I don't think that was one of those unintentional intentional walks. I think they were willing to put a man at first base and go after the left-hander and then the pitcher. Pirates have turned more double plays than any team in the National League. So they set one up here by walking Middlebrooks.
They turned a nice one in the first on the diving stop by Gung. Took a hit away from Braun, started a 5-4-3 double play.
102 double plays they've turned. Only the Texas Rangers have turned more in all of baseball.
Yeah, two contending teams, right? You look at that stat sometimes, you go, well, that's a lot of base runners for a pitching staff. But good defenses certainly turn a lot of double plays. That's a given.
And a lot of ground ball pitchers.
Locke will take his chances against the lefty Flores. Brewers are still hopeful that Domingo Santana can make it back this season. He took batting practice today. He's still with the team. He's been out with an elbow injury, but he is with the team. He's working out baseball drills.
Yeah, he was on the DL for a shoulder problem and then came back and went right on the disabled list again with an elbow.
Santana has hardly played this year. He's only played in 40 games. The Brewers' everyday right fielder when the season began. So in the meantime, guys like Hernan Perez and Ramon Flores getting opportunities. First and third with one man out, and Flores turns on one. He pulls it foul. Ramon in center field tonight with Perez in right. A lot of ground to cover out there. Brewers had two on with nobody out in the first. A double play and a strikeout into the inning. First and third with one away here. Locke delivers, and a swing and a miss. So a couple of Ks in this inning with a runner in scoring position. Locke with the changeup strikes out Flores, and now 3 punch-outs for him.
And all 3 changeups coming on off-speed pitches, and all 3 coming with runners in scoring position. That's good changeup. You know, a lot of left-handed pitchers don't like to throw the changeup to left-handed hitters, but Locke threw a good one that time.
Now he's got the pitcher at the plate, Chase Anderson. Anderson does have a hit against the Pirates this year and an RBI. Came in his start in April. And a ground ball that's going to sneak through, a base hit.
Nice job.
Carter scores the run, and close at first, but Anderson just beats the throw from Polanco. That would have ended the inning without a run had he been thrown out.
Yeah. So you can't do that at fantasy camp. You can't throw a guy out from right field.
It was close. Anderson had the panic set in.
Yeah, he's busted it down the line. I think next time he's going to be running full out, but you could see how shallow Polanco is. He comes up throwing, and if he's able to get a little bit more on it, he might be able to get him at first. Busting it down that line, he beats it and gets the RBI. Well done, partner. I'm going to give that one to you.
Anderson with his first RBI of the season. That other ribby came as a member of the Diamondbacks. And he gives the Brewers the lead 1-0.
Yeah, Junior Guerra had a base hit in yesterday's ball game.
Quick trip to the mound for Cervelli. Well, like I always say, pitchers rake.
You kind of called it, didn't you? You said he's already had a hit against the Pirates this year, right?
In his career.
That's kind of a call.
Right. Well,
I'm going to give it to you.
You can't totally sell out with a pitcher at the plate. That's
Right.
just too risky.
But you had everybody thinking hit.
You set up the turf. You know what I mean? You plow the land.
Yeah.
And then if he doesn't get a hit,
well, you gave everybody hope.
That's all we're looking for right now. It's a season of hope. Top of the order, VR with 2 on now. And VR, a little flare foul. We don't just want to dismiss the pitcher at the plate. As long as you have a bat in your hand, you're dangerous, right?
Yeah, that's what they say.
Of course, he almost got thrown out from right field, so that wouldn't have been good. That's a pitcher thing to have happen to him.
Right. Yeah. But not to be.
VR fouls it away. I do like that fantasy camp rule, though, that you can't throw out a guy at first base because, I mean, there are some 15, 16-second jaunts from home to first in fantasy camp.
Yeah, but they're trying.
Oh, there's no question. Full effort.
Yeah, no kidding.
Just the results aren't quite what you're looking for.
Yeah, we instituted that rule about 3 years ago.
I like that. No bunting.
Can't throw any base runner out, you know, on a force at second like on a base hit. Can't do that. That comes from the official fantasy camp association.
Bylaws.
Worldwide.
We call it the BSB, the Bill Schroeder bylaws. That's a shot into left field, a base hit. Over to cut it off is Marte. Coming in to score is Middlebrooks. And VR with a 2-out single. It's 2-0 Brewers.
Yeah, just when the Pirates had it set up to get out of the inning, you got the pitcher, and now VR hitting a rope out into left field. He's been on twice. You know, Will Middlebrooks, who walked, they were pitching around him to get to Flores and Anderson. And got a fastball out over the plate and rips it into left. So the Brewers take a 2-0 lead. All coming with 2 outs.
Those 2-out RBIs are gut punches to the opposing pitcher. And the Brewers get locked twice here. It's going to draw a visit from Ray Searage, the former Brewer and the terrific pitching coach of the Pirates. Ray Searage is starting to emerge as one of the great names in the pitching coaching circle in baseball. He gets a lot of credit for a number of these reclamation projects for the Pirates.
Yeah, does a great job with the pitching staff, and it's been a challenge for him this year, particularly with that starting rotation. They've had 4 different starters make their major league debut this year. Former teammate of mine with the Brewers.
So a visit to the mound now. Perez with 2 on, 2 out, 2 in. Hernan with a single his last time up.
They got a base hit with a fastball inside, able to hit it hard into left field.
Perez tonight making his 11th start in right. Brewers are 5-5.
Getting more comfortable every time he goes out there.
Playing .500 ball in his previous starts. Not sure what that tells you, other than you get more of a right-handed hitting lineup as Perez strikes out to end the inning. But the Brewers strike. They come up with 3 hits. They score twice. Started with A double by Chris Carter. He almost hit one out. A little flick of the wrist off the left field wall. And then Chase Anderson, his first RBI of the year. The pitcher drives in the first run. VR with a 2-out RBI single. And it's 2-0 Crew after an inning and a half in Pittsburgh.
For the Pirates here at PNC Park in Pittsburgh, Chase Anderson back to work, and he's looking to get back on the winning track over his last 5 starts. Anderson has struggled mightily. He has gone winless, an earned run average nearly 10, and something he said uncharacteristically, he has had struggles with the command. He's had 5 walks in each of his last 2. He said something he has not done since Little League, but for pitching coach Derek Johnson, he told me it's not so much Anderson's command as the margin of error. And he said that the margin of error is small for a guy like Anderson who does not pitch with a high velocity. And so he says those struggles have been really a byproduct of bad counts and also just not getting ahead. So when you have that low margin, he says hitters will make you pay on those mistakes. So he feels overall the changeup has been good for Anderson. Would like to see him use his curveball a little more.
All right, Sophia, thanks. First ball swinging. Cervelli goes off the fence. Perez plays it well, and a close play at second. Cervelli's in with a double.
That's a good arm out in right field. That's what's been the most surprising thing about Perez out in right. I mean, how strong and accurate his arm is out there. Kind of reminds you a little bit of Ryan Braun, that infielder's release. And he's got the carry from the outfield to be able to make plays like this close. It's a heck of a job by Perez. Look how close this play is. Right on the money on one hop. He's made a nice adjustment moving out into right field.
Well, Perez almost stolen out from the Pirate catcher, but it is a leadoff double. Cervelli just coming back from the DL. And his 5th double of the year, starts it for the Pirates in the 2nd inning. Now Gung at the plate, who's already impacted this game with his defense. Saved a run in the 1st on a diving stop to his glove side, turned it into a 5-4-3 double play off the bat of Braun.
Yeah, Pirates with 5 different hitters in double digits in home runs. Gung one of them. They spread around the home run power.
He has proved himself to be a versatile piece as well for the Pirates. He can play short. That's his natural position, but can bounce around all over the infield. Play third, second. He's at third base here tonight. Had that awful injury last year, the broken leg. Trying to turn a double play last season. But despite that, he still played in 126 games, and he ended up finishing 3rd in the Rookie of the Year voting. He's an older rookie. He was 28 last year. He's 29 now. And a lot of experience playing in the Korean Baseball League.
Home run hitter over there, and he's adjusted nicely to baseball here in the major leagues. Adjusted quickly.
His last year in Korea, he hit 40 homers and 117 RBIs. Had a lot of teams over here in Major League Baseball trying to sign him, and the Pirates ended up winning that bid.
Stands right on top of home plate. He's got those hands hanging right over the inside corner, daring you to come inside.
Pirates had to pay a posting fee to his team in Korea, and then he signed a 4-year deal. So this is year 2 of 4. Year 3 of 4, I should say. And the pitch is swung on, a grounder, and it gets by Middlebrooks and VR. And now Cervelli will wind it up and end up at 3rd.
That's a tough play for VR. It looked as though Middlebrooks was going to be able to grab it, but I'm not sure if he missed it or just pulled his glove away, and that shielded the baseball from VR long enough, and he wasn't able to get a handle on it. Check it out. I mean, VR is going over there. I think he just missed it, Middlebrooks, and that made it a very difficult play for Jonathan VR. Right under the glove, and kind of handcuffed VR because he didn't see it. That should be a base hit.
It is scored as a single. Probably a play Middlebrooks would tell you he should make. He's the only one that's going to get it out there. Even if VR comes up with it cleanly, no chance he's throwing out Gung. So it's 1st and 3rd now, and here is Josh Harrison, who was part of the game-ending play last night. Harrison ripped a triple off the wall in right center. And then on the throw to 3rd on the cutoff and relay, Scooter Gennett hit Harrison with the throw, and it caromed into the dugout, or the photographer's well. And Harrison was awarded home plate, and that's how the game ended last night. A Little League home run. Triple and an error.
Yeah, he helped beat the Brewers in a lot of different ways last night. Taking away base hits, coming up with that big hit in the 9th inning.
Brewers get 2 in the top of the 2nd. Now the Pirates are threatening here in the home 2nd. 1st and 3rd, nobody out. Anderson could use a double play ball. Brewers would gladly concede the run to turn 2 in a spot like this. And Harrison down the left field line. Long run. Braun can't get it. Can't cut it off. A run is in. Cervelli, and they will hold Gung at 3rd. That's a double and an RBI for Harrison. 2-1 Brewers.
Now in the bottom half of the order, getting it done here in this 2nd inning. Harrison with another base hit. I think that was a changeup that stayed up just enough for Harrison to be able to get the barrel of the bat on it. Hooking away from Ryan Braun as he chased it down. And Cervelli scores, and it's 2nd and 3rd and nobody out.
Third base coach and base runner all in the same. Scores easily.
Probably not a good idea for him to try to score anyway, right? Not sure what he's doing.
That's why you're not a third base coach.
They can do it all, these guys these days.
They can run the bases. They can make suggestions.
Coach third base, umpire, you name it.
Rick Sofield, the third base coach, says, I'll handle it. Jordy Mercer now. 3 straight hits to start the inning against Chase Anderson. 2nd and 3rd. Nobody out. And there's a strike.
You know, Sophia was talking about Derek Johnson, and you know the fact that Chase Anderson works on a very slim margin, you know, with his fastball, because he doesn't throw hard. And the other aspect of that, his fastball is pretty straight. He has been tinkering around with a cut fastball, but when you don't throw hard and your fastball is pretty straight, you have to be on the corners. and you have to be down in the strike zone. And when he misses, that's when he gets hit hard.
Anderson's last start was July 9th in a loss against the Cardinals. Missed with the changeup. Chase had back-to-back starts against St. Louis. Prior to that, had back-to-back starts against the Dodgers. 2 contending teams, and he lost all 4 of those starts.
Yeah, kind of a tough draw for him, huh?
Couldn't get through 5 innings in any of those 4 starts. His last win came on June 8th against Oakland. 6 2/3 of shutout ball that day. And he's got the count full on Jordy Mercer. There's a way out of the inning with no further damage, but it starts right here with the 8th place hitter. Got the pitcher due up next. Certainly don't want to see the top of the order with men on base. Not the way this inning has started already. 2nd and 3rd, nobody out. Full count to Mercer. And a fastball foul. Not by much.
Yeah, way late on that fastball, but almost able to catch that right field line.
Do it again. Another 3-2 and into center field. A base hit. In to score is Gung. Harrison right behind him. Throw is up the line. Mercer will take second. The Pirates have the lead quickly here in the bottom of the 2nd inning. And a bad throw from center field allows Mercer to take the extra base.
Yeah, best off just throwing that into second to keep the double play alive. And no way you're going to throw Josh Harrison out from second base on a ball like that, playing out there deep into center field. A base hit on a fastball up. Harrison right away knows it's a base hit. He's going to score easily. Just throw it into second base.
4 consecutive hits to start the inning and an early visit to the mound from Derek Johnson.
That's what we're talking about. You know, the fastball for Anderson, not a lot on it, and pretty straight. Not a good combination. That's why he's been hit hard. The mistakes that he's made have all come on the fastball.
3 runs are in. Pirates answer a 2-run Brewers second with 3, nobody out, and the pitcher Locke at the plate. Might see him bunting in this situation. Carter thinks so. He's creeping in, as is Middlebrooks. And Locke squares early. Gets the bunt down. Lucroy's on it. Thought about third, but he'll take the sure out at first. Sacrifice bunt for the Pirate pitcher. Runner at third with 1 away.
Good execution by Locke. You see the way he has that bat head out in front and just deadens it, barely making it grass. Lucroy thought about it, but he got the easy out at first base. Pirates executing nicely in this inning.
And that goes back to the throw from Flores from center field, allowing the runner to advance. Not a mistake that shows up in the box score, but a mistake nonetheless. Infield in now. Runner at third with Polanco at the plate.
It's all right if you're going to throw that ball into home plate, but you got to be able to hit the cutoff man. If you hit the cutoff man there, they might have a play at second base. Airmailed everybody and didn't turn out well.
Anderson had a couple of strikeouts to end the first inning. Stranded a runner at third base. Gave up a double in that inning to Marte. He's given up 4 hits in this inning. And he misses on Polanco. Takes the count to 2-1. And Sophia mentioned Eric Johnson was talking about implementing more breaking balls, more curveballs for Anderson. He's tried a couple. He spiked one badly that resulted in a wild pitch in the first inning. But right now, it's pretty much fastball changeup.
Yeah, the changeup's been pretty effective. Fastball has not. Fastball pretty effective in yesterday's game against the Pirates with Junior Guerra out there in the mound.
2-2 the count. Got a runner at third. Mercer, and a ground ball to Jeanette. That's going to send Mercer back to third base, and Polanco is out. 2 outs in the inning. And here comes Marte.
There's a curveball, good one.
Yeah, he needed to see that one go over, didn't he?
That's a good way to start out a hitter.
No balls and a strike. Marte doubled sharply to center field last inning. He tried another one. 1 ball, 1 strike. Marte has an interesting way to get ready for a pitch. Kind of casts that bat like he's fishing, and then launches himself into position. An abrupt movement right there.
Triggering mechanism that works for him, although he's very still when he's getting ready to swing the bat. Not a lot of movement once that ball's on its way to home plate. That's a key. You can stand on your head, do whatever you want until that pitcher starts throwing it. Once that pitch is released, you got to be still.
Yeah, whatever makes sense to get you in the right position. Remember, Joe Morgan had that flinch with his back elbow.
Chicken wing. Yeah.
There's been a lot of unusual batting stances. There's no one way to hit.
There's a lot of wrong ways, though.
Yeah, true. No one way to set up, maybe, is the best way to put it.
Yeah, right.
Marte takes a ball. So this long inning continues for Anderson. And now it's first and third with McCutchen coming up. And Counsell starting to pace in that Brewers dugout.
It's been the issue for Anderson. Not only has he been giving up some runs, but has not been able to get too deep into games. He hasn't been able to complete 5 innings in his last 4 starts.
Already 51 pitches. We're in the 2nd inning. Against the Cardinals in his last start, he threw 94 pitches in 4 innings. Marte takes off. Lucroy's throw to second, and it is in time. He got him. Marte is cut down.
A beautiful throw. Wow.
Lucroy with a perfect peg to the bag. And Marte, one of the great base stealers in the game, is thrown out at second base to end the inning. That's a break for Anderson. Pirates get 3. but a caught stealing gets him out of it. Pirates score 3, though. They lead 3-2, and now Ryan Braun ready to lead off as we go to the third. Rock talked about this series thus far. Braun has had at least 3 hits taken away, 2 yesterday by Harrison. And this was a great play by Harrison on the line drive. And then how about this one earlier today with men on base?
Yeah. He could have 4 hits in this series. He's got 1.
And Gung made that play, turned it into 2 on Braun. So Ryan will lead off now. Brewers got 2 runs on 3 hits in the second inning. And back-to-back 2-out RBI hits, Chase Anderson and Jonathan Villar.
I'm not quite sure why you run if you're Starling Marte in that situation. You got your number 3 hitter up. Chase Anderson on the ropes.
Ryan Braun with a base hit. No fielders out there. So he continues to hit the ball hard. His second hit of the series, and a lead man on in the third.
Yeah, we talk about VR sometimes making poor decisions with 3, 4, 5 hitters coming up. I don't think that was a very good decision by Starling Marte. It really got Chase Anderson out of a bad situation. Could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, the stolen base attempt. It's been long discussed. Even when Ricky Henderson was stealing bases at a record rate, it was always the Lou Brock discussion. Lou Brock was a great base stealer, but he and Maury Wills stole bases when they were necessary, right? And you got to feel the inning, sense how the inning's going, get a pitcher on the ropes.
Score and who's up, right? How many outs there are, who's up, what's the score, what's the inning?
Even though McCutcheon's had a down year, he's still your 3-hole hitter and your best player.
Game situation dictates what you do out there, both at the plate, on the bases, and in the field. Not so much anymore.
Two 2-0 the count on Lucroy. He struck out with a runner at third in the first. He's got Braun at first. And Lucroy takes a ball, 3-0. Everything you say about Chase Anderson applies to Jeff Locke from the left side. He's got a really good changeup. He's got a good breaking ball going, and he's commanding his fastball well. Then he can be very effective. And we've seen him really good, and we've seen him really bad in the past.
And he likes to work inside, and that one just does miss.
Ball 4 to Lucroy. 2 on to start the third inning.
Hey, a reminder that there's another Free Shirt Friday coming up this Friday, July 22nd. Watch the Brewers as they challenge their rivals from the Windy City and get a retro Brewers t-shirt courtesy of Orbis Corporation. The rivals from the Windy City, they're the Cubs.
Oh, I see, the Cubs.
Yeah, for tickets go to brewers.com today.
Thanks for cleaning that up. I was wondering.
Well, I know.
By the way, tickets for this weekend's game against the rivals from the Windy City still remain available for purchase. But the Brewers are expecting Miller Park to be near capacity each day.
Get your tickets now. Get here early.
And get your parking squared away as well. Purchase your parking in advance is what we recommend. That's what Rock and I do. In advance.
Way in advance.
Of course, Rock just parks wherever he wants. So
if I see an open spot, I'm pulling in.
Or just any empty space. Any empty surface area, whether it's lined or not.
I've been known to park people in. They're not leaving until I leave.
Carter ahead of the count, 2-0. So just a public service announcement for parking.
Right.
This weekend. It's going to be a fun series with the Cubs. Cubs won today. Beat the Mets. Won that series. A swing and a miss. Carter in a 2-1 count. Brewers down a run, 2 on. Carter in the air to right, foul. Slices one in the seats.
That's that fastball in by Locke and tied up Carter just enough. And they get that pitch out about maybe 3 or 4 inches. He's going to give that one a ride somewhere, but pitching in effectively is Jeff Locke.
Runners take off, and Carter takes a ball. This is going to be a double steal. So Locke not paying much attention to Braun. He swipes third. Lucroy right behind him swipes second base. And that could be big in this inning. Takes the Pirates out of a double play chance.
And they turn a lot of double plays. Ryan Braun with a walking lead. Lucroy right behind him, and Cervelli doesn't even bother getting out of his squat.
Steal for Braun and Lucroy. A base hit will score a couple maybe. Yeah, Carter fouls it away.
Struggling pitchers a lot of times are going to forget about the base runners, and Brewers able to take advantage of that. You get dialed in on that catcher's mitt. You get dialed in on your mechanics and forget about the base runners.
Now for Braun, it's his 8th steal of the year. Lucroy's starting to stack up a big stolen base season, Ron. He's 5 for 5. Three-two pitch coming from Locke. Carter takes a called strike 3. Got him on the inside corner.
That's about as much emotion as you'll see out of Chris Carter.
5th strikeout from Locke. Let's see where it ended up.
I'd like to see the Fox tracks on this one. That one looked like it was in off the plate by plenty.
Wow.
I'm not sure why Sam Holbrook would ring that up. It should be bases loaded, nobody out.
You know,
that wasn't a very good call.
Cervelli catches that right in the center of his body, but he jumped out at the last moment.
I mean, that wasn't even close.
Holbrook's already ejected Clint Hurdle. That was in the first inning on a little foul ball by Braun. That Holbrook said Braun was in the box. Hurdle disagreed, thought it should have been an out, and the Pirate skipper was tossed quickly.
I think home plate umpire is going through that last call in his head. Can't take it back though.
Second and third. One away for Jeanette, who lines one to right, a base hit. And a fan reaches out and grabs the ball. So fan interference here, going to place Jeanette at second base. 2 runs are in. The Brewers take the lead.
Well, it didn't take long, did it? I mean, first pitch and Jeanette able to whistle one right down the right field line. And the Brewers retake the lead. How about that? Scooter Jeanette, lefty versus lefty, once again getting a good pitch to hit. Supposed to be away, left it in, and Jeanette with a 2-run double right inside the right field line. And the fan picks it up, a ground rule double.
And an ejection for the fan. Now
I think they just move his seat.
Oh, is that right?
I don't think they're going to kick him out. I think they move him maybe in the upper deck somewhere so he can't interfere.
We will watch.
A little slow getting over there, aren't they?
Now I'm really interested to see what happens. Middlebrooks takes a ball inside. Now by the ground rules, right, a fan who interferes with a live ball is subject to ejection. But you're saying there's a little softer version of that. Maybe like
right. It's not like running onto the field.
It's a loophole.
Right. It's not like running onto the field creating a disturbance.
Ground ball to the right side. Nice play over there. And he'll take it to the bag. David Freese. Middlebrooks grounds out. Advances a runner to third, but that's the second out in the inning.
But in this case, it doesn't appear that the folks here in Pittsburgh are going to do anything about that.
Thus encouraging fan interference. Here, you hold the ball. It was him.
Wasn't me.
Out. Here he comes. Says you're out. Oh, we're watching you. Just having some fun. Instincts. Yeah, look at these guys. They're eyeballing him. The fisheye is on.
Are they going to wait till the inning's over?
I think so. They're going to let him enjoy it. It's like baseball fans' version of the Green Mile right
Showing
here.
his buddy. See that backhand pickup?
He's giving himself away now, Rock. Flores takes a ball inside.
And his buddy's saying, yeah, I saw it. I'll meet you in the parking lot after the game.
Oh, there's a guy in a suit. He looks important. There's a police officer. Which guy was it?
They're hovering.
Oh,
Got nowhere to go.
like a bunch of vultures circling the squirrel. There's a little flare, and Harrison will make the catch to end the inning. But the Brewers get a couple of runs on a Scooter Jeanette double. They're closing in. You, sir, you're out of here. Switch of motivation here and negotiations, perhaps. Johnny Shorthob has been allowed to stay in his spot.
He got a stern talking to, and he's charging his phone here at the ballpark.
Yes, he is. He found a power outlet.
He's got it made.
What a seat. All right, good for you. That's my kind of fan right there. Yeah, that guy talked to him the whole half inning.
And he left, and he's still there.
Yep, good job. Maybe he's a lawyer. Here's McCutchen, who leads off. He was at the plate when Marte was thrown out trying to steal second. So McCutchen up there with nobody on, a strikeout victim in the first inning. And Anderson hoping for a quick bounce back. There's a jam shot. VR gloves it and throws McCutchen out for the first out of the inning. Chase could use a quick one here in the third.
Got the middle of this order coming up, but Brewers offense has been able to stake him to 2 different leads.
Freeze on the first pitch, a high fly ball, foul. Freeze also a strikeout victim. Anderson has 2. He got McCutchen and Freeze with a runner at third to end the first inning. And that one skips in low. One ball, one strike on David Freese. Back in the National League Central after some big years with the Cardinals. That girl just made a great play, by the way. There's a lot of activity over there tonight,
yeah,
Rock.
she's allowed to grab baseballs down there.
1-2 on the way. Freese lays off. Check this out. Moving her feet. Oh, yeah. No problem.
He's still, the guy back there is still trying to hunt for baseballs.
Where was the super fan? Is he? He's a little bit further down.
Further down, but he stood up waiting for the carom.
Ah,
yeah.
I see. Ground ball right back to Anderson. And there is out number 2. Hey fans, for the first time ever, the Baseball Hall of Fame is on tour. It's featuring an IMAX History of Baseball movie plus an entire virtual reality gallery that puts you right in the game. It's at Miller Park now through the 31st. Tickets are available at halloffametour.com. Cooperstown comes to Milwaukee.
Artifacts, the IMAX, you make a Hall of Fame plaque for yourself.
Craig Kashan's still in there texting, I see.
Yeah, that's must see. That is good stuff. Got a sneak preview at Miller Park before the road trip started.
Right, that's a great call. A lot of people can't get to Cooperstown. It's not an easy place to get to. And take it on the road, see some of the great artifacts. No better Hall of Fame than the Baseball Hall of Fame, right?
Yeah, I've been to all of them.
Into center field. Flores, he is coming in. He's got it. And that's the kind of inning that Chase Anderson was looking for. Nice and easy. 3 up and 3 down. The Pirates go in order in the 3rd.
Park in Pittsburgh. It's a 4-3 lead for the Brewers over the Pirates as we head to the 4th. Our T-Mobile greater coverage of baseball. We get you caught up what happened around the league today. Anthony Rizzo for the Cubs, 2-hit day for him. Both of those for home runs, 3 RBIs, and a 6-2 win for the Cubs over the Mets. Albert Pujols last night against the Rangers, another big night at the plate, 3 for 3, 2 home runs. That is his 54th career multi-home run game. And for the Cardinals, some injury news for Johnny Peralta, their shortstop, placed on the 15-day disabled list with a thumb injury. That's the 2nd time he's going on the DL with that injury. And in other injury-related news, Clayton Kershaw now shut down. He was expected to make his return for the Dodgers tomorrow against the Nationals and had some discomfort with the back in his side session, so he will remain out for the Dodgers.
That is huge news for the Dodgers and for baseball.
Yeah, you hate to see a guy like that out. He might be out for the season. Dave Roberts making comments. He might have surgery on that back. He might not pitch again this year. Too bad.
Yeah, the Dodgers got more bad news with Brett Anderson. Their starting rotation just continues to be hurt and unavailable. Chase Anderson starts this 4th inning at the plate for the Brewers. He had an RBI single his first time up. His first ribby as a Brewer.
Huge with 2 outs.
Cubs won that series against the Mets, and the Cubs made a deal today. They picked up a reliever, Mike Montgomery, from the Mariners. They needed a little help in their bullpen. Yeah, he's been a good one. A couple of prospects going the other way from Chicago. 2 pitchers going to Seattle. So Mike Montgomery is a Chicago Cub now. Guy that can start or pitch out of the bullpen. I was in Chicago over the weekend, talked to Joe Madden a little bit, and I think the one area, the Cubs are pretty well set everywhere, but the one area they have some concern, they don't feel like they have a lot of depth in their starting rotation. So if somebody gets injured, they feel like they're a little thin. They tried Adam Warren, but he's better in the bullpen for them, and that disrupted their bullpen flow when they took him out. So I'm sure they're looking for somebody who can give them some innings in case of injury. That could derail a pennant chase quickly if you don't have a starter that you can call on from the minor leagues. As Chase Anderson draws the walk. What a presence he's been at the plate tonight.
And they're starting to give the boo birds out to Jeff Locke. It has been 3 rough innings for Locke so far. 4 runs on the board already from Milwaukee. No, the Cubs in general, and with their 5 starters, they're in pretty good shape. I mean, how many teams are really 5, 6, 7, or 6, 7 deep in their starting rotation, even when you pluck some from the minor leagues?
There's a bunt. It's a good one. Tough play. Gong barehands it, throws, not in time. VR beats it out. That was one heck of a play by Gong, though, to make it close.
And just a beautiful bunt by Jonathan VR.
I'm sure the Pirates will want to take a look at this replay.
Even with the bag, and VR is thinking, if I put it where I want to, they're not going to throw me out. Clearly safe.
Yeah. Good call over there by the crew chief, Jerry Davis.
He was on his way out of the box when he made contact, but that's a heck of a play by Gong to make it close.
Good start to the inning. VR on base for the 3rd time tonight. 2 hits and a walk in this game. First and second, nobody out for Hernan Perez.
Yeah, why not bunt, right? Advance the base runners, try to stay out of the double play. That's a big part of the Pirates defense, turning double plays. Maybe advance the base runners to bring Braun and Lucroy up.
Perez singled in the first. He struck out in the second. Brewers scored twice in that second inning. 2 out RBIs in that inning from the pitcher Anderson and then VR. And then scored twice in the third. 1 swing of Scooter Gennett's bat. Bullpen is active. See the big right-hander Jared Hughes getting loose. Two 2-0 to Perez. A little bit low. 3-0 is the count. And a dangerous bat due up next. Hernan started at 3rd last night. Gets a call in right field tonight. There's a strike. A little cue shot foul. Full count. Perez with 24 runs batted in this season. He's hit 5 homers. Has 5 hits on this road trip. And he takes it up and in. Ball 4, and the bases are now loaded. Nobody out in the 4th, and a golden opportunity for Milwaukee here.
And nowhere to put Ryan Braun, and they're going to the bullpen. That's it for Locke. They've seen enough.
So Dave Jouse, who's managing the club now after Hurdle's ejection, the bench coach is going to take the ball from his starter. And the Boo Birds are out in Pittsburgh. Wisconsin is brought to you by Hupy and Abraham. 1-800-800-5678. Hupy and Abraham. Tell them you mean business. Wow, what a sunset tonight. Western PA. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Beautiful evening for baseball. We got a wild game going here. Both starting pitchers are struggling a bit. Brewers took the lead with 2 last inning, and they are threatening with the bases loaded and nobody out with Braun coming up. Jared Hughes is on the mound, partner.
Yeah, good numbers for Hughes in his 34th game. A .313 earned run average. Yeah, not really a strikeout pitcher, but he gets a lot of ground balls. That's what the Pirates are looking for here.
Braun with a base hit his last time up. If you're Dave Jouse right now, the acting manager of the Pirates, you're thinking it's only the 4th inning, but this is almost like a closer inning.
Yeah,
to try to stay in this game.
And Hughes is able to pitch more than 1 inning. He's got to get stretched out a little bit. He has pitched 3 innings this year in an appearance.
Little jam shot, flare, falling. Mercer's back, over the shoulder catch. Anderson not tagging, ends up going back to the bag, cannot score. A great play by Jordy Mercer over the shoulder for the first out.
And a good pitch by Jared Hughes tying up Ryan Braun. That was on a 1-0 pitch. Gets in on his hands, and Braun is not able to get the bat head out, and a pop up. I don't think that Anderson was going to be able to score on that anyway. Remember, he's the pitcher. You want to have a collision at home plate with your pitcher at third base.
Great play. You could see in the replay right away Anderson went back to tag. Had the good instincts to go tag, but I think he was probably told to
stay put.
Get a little bit of a running start in case he drops the ball so he can score. I'm sure that came from Ed Cedar. It's just that's a tweener. It's a tough call for a base runner. So it's Lucroy with 1 away.
He's got that good 2-seam fastball. He gets a lot of ground ball outs. Hughes has allowed 9 of 19 inherited runners to score. That's quite a few.
Back inside. Pirate starter Jeff Locke goes 3+ tonight. All 3 runners are his. He's given up 4 already on 7 hits. 2-1 to Lucroy. Up and in. 3 balls and a strike. And nowhere to put him.
Man, free hack here for Jonathan Lucroy. Make sure you get one up in the zone and try and drive a gap here. He can be very selective on this pitch.
That's a strike. 3-2, hit the edge.
A perfect pitch right at the knees. It's not the one you want to swing at. That's your ground ball pitch right there.
Right at the bottom of the zone. Good pitch by Hughes. Ground ball pitcher. Bases loaded for Lucroy, and a swing and a miss. Out number 2.
Yeah, ball 4 right there.
Well, that is twice Lucroy has struck out with runners in scoring position. He rarely does that. But 2 outs now. Bases still loaded.
Yeah, and this pitch way off the inside corner. Clearly a ball. And Luke comes up empty.
That's going to take a 2-out hit now, perhaps. Chris Carter is up there. Anderson started the inning with a walk. He's at third. Villar had a bunt single. And then Perez walked to load him up. But Hughes has come on and retired Braun and Lucroy and has a chance to get out of this inning.
Well, you couldn't ask for a better scenario, right? Bases loaded, nobody out. 3-4 coming up. Hughes has made some good pitches, though.
Misses this time. Close. And that'll push the count to 3-0. Now, we've seen Carter be a lot more aggressive 3-0 than any of the other Brewer hitters. And you wonder if he's going to let it fire here. No, he missed. Ball 4. Carter walks on 4 straight.
Wow.
Boy, just as Hughes is on the doorstep to get out of this inning, he walks a run in. The Brewers take a 5-3 lead on an RBI the easy way for Chris Carter.
Yeah, Chris didn't even have to swing the bat. I mean, all 4 pitches out of the strike zone. Didn't miss the bottom part of the zone by too much on a number of those pitches. But the Brewers able to cash in at least one here.
So it'll be Scooter Gennett, who drove in 2 with a double his last time up. And he cuts and misses. Looked like a called strike anyway. Bases full of Brewers. Gennett already with 2 ribbies. Got a chance for more.
Yeah, Chase Anderson finally able to sit down in that dugout. He started this long inning with a walk. He's been out there on the bases the entire inning.
Gennett breaks his bat right to Hughes, who will make the play to end the inning. Brewers get 1 out of that. It's pretty good work by Hughes. A bases loaded walk allows the Brewers to take a 2-run lead. Top of the Pirates as we go to the bottom of the 4th inning. And our Carsoup.com trivia today: which current Brewers coach finished 9th in the Rookie of the Year voting in 1983? That's a good question. There is a Pirate connection with that, if that helps you out at all.
Okay. I think that pretty much eliminates everybody but one.
Chase Anderson back to work. Jung Ho Kang leads off for the Pirates here in the 4th inning. And Kang on the ground, right to Middlebrooks. Out number 1.
Hey, the Brewers block party returns this weekend. Join the crew at Village Park in Elm Grove on Saturday from 11 to 1 for a free lunch and fun-filled day of games, barbecue fare, autograph signings, and much, much more. Visit Brewers.com/block party for more information.
Beautiful night in Pittsburgh. One away. Here is Josh Harrison.
Supposed to get a little bit warm tomorrow, huh? 90.
It's going to be hot in Milwaukee.
I understand it's going to be really hot in Milwaukee this weekend. Yeah.
Just hydrate and wear sunscreen and enjoy a day at the ballpark.
Right.
Easy to get loose. Baseball weather.
Hydrate, the operative word. A lot of water.
We might need to buy a few more fans. Not the kind that visit the ballpark, but a few more fans that cool you off.
I've got 2. You want to bring one, or you buy one?
We have 4 in this booth. We're doing really well. We got a lot of fans, Rock.
What was I thinking, asking you to buy one?
No. I like the heat. I'm good in the heat.
I got one of them battery operated fans where you can take. I had it down at the pre and post game set.
Oh, yeah.
Those are handy. Gets a little warm down there.
Uses the same battery as the drill.
Right.
I like that. I'm all in for one of those. I could use one for my drill. A drill fan combo. Because usually when I'm drilling stuff at home, you need to cool off.
The drill, the duct tape, and scissors.
That's it. I'm going to add that to my repertoire at home in the old workbench.
It is a nice workbench. I've seen it. Not much on it. But.
Harrison deep into left field. Braun back a few steps. He's got it for the out.
I know you got people for doing all that stuff.
No, it's just.
I know you do.
I just do it a little unconventionally.
Are you a handyman?
Sure. I'm as handy as duct tape will allow me to be. It's amazing, that stuff.
But I'll bring the battery operated fan.
All right.
To the ballpark.
Perfect. Yeah, our goal whenever the temperatures rise is to keep Rock cool. We got to keep him fed and we got to keep him cool. And well hydrated.
Yeah, okay. That is right, though.
Jordy Mercer now with 2 away.
I think I've handled the bright lights here up in the booth pretty well this week so far.
You have. Just mild profanity.
I haven't really been in the full out sweat. Just a bead or 2 on the forehead. Got to admit, these lights here in Pittsburgh, the hottest on earth.
They're very hot. Hot lights, yes. It's a good observation. Line drive to right. That ball is well hit. That's going to bounce off the wall. Mercer on his way to second. It's a 2-out double. Anderson had retired 5 in a row, but Mercer is 2 for 2. He's hit the ball hard twice. And the Pirates put a man on in scoring position in the 4th.
Yeah, going to right field nicely that time on a pitch middle away up. Nice short stroke. One hops the wall out there in right. That'll bring up the number 9 spot with 2 outs and a man at second. So the night's over for Jared Hughes.
Well, Matt Joyce will be announced as the pinch hitter. Lucroy out for a visit. Saw Joyce last night. He is The pinch hitter that Hurdle uses the most. Hurdle's been ejected from this game. Dave Jouse is running the team right now. Joyce gets an early pinch hit appearance. Runner at second. 5-3 Brewers. We're in the bottom of the fourth inning. A wave and a miss, a changeup from Anderson.
Yeah, Dandy's had a good one all night.
Puts him in an 0-2 count. Top of the order due next. So Chase trying to get Joyce and get the Brewers up to bat in the fifth. Tried another one. Joyce didn't bite.
Got good movement on that changeup. He's got a little movement going down and away to left-handed hitters. Actually struck out Andrew McCutchen in the first inning on that changeup.
We'll see if Anderson goes back to it. He's missed with a couple. 2-2 the count now. Mercer at second. Anderson deals, and he did try another change, and Joyce didn't bite. So now it's 3-2. And if you're Matt Joyce, you've just seen 3 consecutive changeups miss. He's thrown 4 in a row overall.
Hadn't seen a fastball yet. Curveball and 4 changeups.
Polanco due next, the leadoff hitter. And he did throw him another changeup, and a foul ball by Joyce. Almost wiped out his teammate. Well, 5 in a row. Will he go for 6?
Well, when you're able to locate it like he has tonight, why not?
Pretty good job fouling that pitch.
That's
off.
about as defensive a swing as you'll see.
3-2 the count. Another payoff pitch, and a fastball misses. Joyce walks.
Not what you want to do. Not bringing the top of the order up.
2 on now with 2 out. A double and a walk. Here comes Polanco. Tough night for the starting pitchers tonight. A lot of pitches. Locke is out. 3+ innings, giving up 5 runs.
Yep, already 81 pitches for Anderson. It's going to be another short night for him.
A 29 pitch second inning. Had a nice bounce back last inning with a 3-up, 3-down frame. But now the Pirates bring the go-ahead run to the plate. And a power hitter coming up in Polanco, their RBI leader. He's got 50 ribbies. Hitting in the leadoff spot for the first time this season. 2 on, 2 out. Polanco's 0 for 2. Had a foul pop in the first inning over towards third, and then he grounded out his last time up. Hit that one pretty sharply. And Lucroy's on his way out again.
Yeah, Brewers have activity out in their bullpen now.
Jacob Barnes getting loose. The hard thrower. Probably see him to face Marte if Polanco should reach. Two outs in the inning. Anderson retired the first two, but he's given up a double and a walk. And a strike. Late call. 1-1 the count.
Yeah, but with the changeup again, he's thrown a lot of them tonight. Better command with a changeup than the fastball.
Got the benefit of a call right there.
Just can't find those corners with that heater. Curveball's been inconsistent. The best pitch he's thrown tonight, most consistent pitch, changeup.
And when you don't have that overpowering stuff, these are the dangerous counts for Chase Anderson to get into.
At some point, you got to figure these Pirates are going to start looking changeup in these spots.
2 balls and a strike.
Well, they thought they had the right pitch called, but I think Chase Anderson changed his mind.
And a swing and a miss.
Yeah, Lucroy had set up inside before Anderson called timeout. I think they were thinking fastball. He stepped off and went back to the changeup.
Good changeup here. Perfect spot. Polanco way out in front. Evens the count at 2-2. Anderson deals and a ground ball. Carter's got it. Has to make the connection with Anderson. He does so, and the inning is over. So Anderson strands 2, gets through 4, and the Brewers lead at 5-3.
Brewers Community Foundation will host its annual 5K Famous Racing Sausages Run Walk next Saturday, July 30th. Participants will enjoy a one-of-a-kind run with the sausages around and through Miller Park, with all proceeds supporting Fisher House, Wisconsin's mission to provide a home away from home for active military and veterans families. You can sign up today at brewers.com/BCF. Now, BA and Rock Saturday, July 30th should stand out to Rock because that's the same night as 90s Night, which Rock has done such a wonderful job promoting with his reads the past week.
Oh, yeah. That's right in his wheelhouse.
They've gotten better. Let's put it that way.
Are you going to sport the mullet for 90s Night?
Yeah, no.
Unfortunate. A.J. Schugel is on the pitch for the Pirates.
Well, it was 80s anyway.
I thought you hung on to yours for a little bit.
Oh, no. A.J. Schugel never had a mullet. Everybody in the Pirates bullpen actually has shaved their heads. The anti-mullet. A sinker, changeup, curveball pitcher. Another guy that gets a lot of ground ball outs. You would think this Pirate rotation and bullpen filled with sinker type pitchers, but all the double plays that they've turned this year.
Will Middlebrooks leads off for the Brewers in the 5th. He is 0 for 1 tonight. He walked and scored in the 2nd inning. Pirates had a lead at 3-2. Brewers scored 2 in the 3rd to regain the lead. Scooter Gennett drove in 2 with a double, and then Milwaukee got one last inning. Bases loaded, walk to Carter, and it's 5-3 in a slow-moving game with 2 starting pitchers that have struggled. Anderson is through 4.
Still activity out in that bullpen, which leads you to believe that Craig Counsell is going to go to the bench.
Yeah, we'll find out shortly. Anderson's spot is due up 3rd in this inning. Carlos Torres is getting loose. It was Barnes last inning. Andy Wilkins is stirring in the dugouts, got a bat in his hands. Checking the scouting reports. Middlebrooks starting the 5th, and he takes a called strike 3. Out number 1 in this 5th inning.
Hey, tonight's time of the game winner, Wasson's Supper Club in Galesville, Wisconsin. If they call the Brewers by 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, they'll get 40 tickets to a Friday night game in the Miller Lite Beer Pen. This offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite. Galesville.
Welcome all of those watching in Galesville today. Ramon Flores with 1 away. Flores is 0 for 2, had a strikeout in the 2nd. Little pop up to in the 3rd. Pirates starter Jeff Locke goes 3 innings, 7 hits, 5 runs, all earned. Walked 5, struck out 5.
Yeah, just really wasn't able to command too much. And he was lucky to give up only 5 runs.
There's a base hit. Flores slaps one to the opposite field. And a 1-out single for Ramon Flores. And Craig Counsell is going to make the move here. So Anderson is out after 4. Andy Wilkins will pinch hit for Chase Anderson. Anderson was a threat at the plate tonight. Had a single and an RBI. He walked and scored in his 2 plate appearances.
That single to drive and a run came in the 2nd inning with 2 outs. Drove in a run, then VR drove in a run. Had 2 runs scoring with 2 outs. And Chase just can't seem to manage his pitch count enough to stay in the game very long these days. That's 5 consecutive starts that he has not been able to get through 5 innings. 85 pitches tonight.
Wilkins pinch hits for him. 0 for 5 at the plate with the Brewers. Still looking for that first Milwaukee hit. And he takes a strike. Wilkins was down in AAA playing more outfield than first base at the time of his call up. A guy that's been around a little bit. He's 27. Had a brief time in the big leagues with the White Sox 2 years ago. Had 6 hits for the White Sox back in 2014.
I saw a bunch of him in spring training. Got a pretty good bat. Just needs some playing time to be able to get locked in.
He got caught on the waiver wire this past offseason. So he never played for any of these teams, but he got stuck on the waiver wire with the Orioles, the Dodgers, the Mariners, the Rangers. And we're talking about like a 3-week stretch in December. He was bouncing around between these organizations. Down the right field line, Wilkins sends it deep. It is foul. Just hooked over it.
A little out in front on that changeup. They just couldn't wait back long enough, but got the barrel of the bat on it.
Andy Wilkins found himself on the waiver wire 5 times last season. Starting in March, spring training with the Blue Jays, or with the White Sox, and the Blue Jays claimed him. Quite a ride, but here he is in the big leagues getting a chance. I always wondered if players know when they're on waivers until somebody claims them, right? They wouldn't. They wouldn't know.
Well, not even then. I think. I guess maybe they know once it becomes public when somebody claims a player, but that doesn't mean they're going to be gone either. You can always pull them off of waivers.
Basically, put a player on waivers when you take them off your roster. On the ground to second. Harrison's going to the bag for 1, over to first, and that's a double play. So the Pirates turn 2 on Wilkins. 4-6-3 double play to end the inning. And we go to the bottom of the 5th with the Brewers up a pair.
Brewers here in the 5th at PNC Park. Our minor league report goes to reliever Michael Blazek, who was optioned to AAA Colorado Springs heading into the All-Star break. Last night, a good outing for Blazek, 2 1/3, just 2 hits allowed, 0 earned runs, 4 strikeouts for him. And Craig Counsell said the reports have been very good on Blazek in his 2 games with Colorado. He said both of them multi-inning outings, and he said both reports good in that his second innings were better than his first. So he was happy to see him strike out the side in the second inning last night. And what he said is that with getting more pitches, going multiple innings, he's making adjustments on his own. So far, very pleased with the progress that Blazek has made with Colorado.
Yeah, good for him. There's been a few players that have gone down. They've had success and gotten the call back to the big leagues. Carlos Torres is on for Milwaukee. Anderson goes 4 and was lifted for a pinch hitter. So now Torres takes over. The Brewers are up 5-3.
Yeah, he's been a nice surprise since the Brewers picked him up right before the season started. 40th appearance tonight. Last pitched on Friday against the Reds. He's got that good 3.02 earned run average and more strikeouts than innings pitched so far for Torres.
Starling Marte leads off and takes a strike. By the way, just to add to Sophia's minor league report, Corey Ray, the Brewers' first pick, the 5th overall pick, was on a good run to start the season in Brevard County in Single A. Matter of fact, his hitting streak was snapped yesterday, but he did reach base on a walk. So he's reached base safely in 12 of his 15 games this season. That's a pretty high level to start at. Single A, the upper level Single A in the Florida State League, and he's handling himself well. And another high pick for the Brewers this year, Lucas Erceg, has been promoted to the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers. He's in the lineup tonight, already has a hit tonight. There's a base hit by Marte. A single to right to start the 5th.
Two guys you figure might be on the fast track for the Brewers. I mean, two very talented players. Erceg and Corey Ray.
They put Erceg in the Pioneer League in Helena. He had 400 in that league. Gaudy numbers, an OPS over 1,000, and feeling like, all right, he's proven he can hit here, so let's move him up to the lower level Single A franchise in Appleton. Two guys to keep an eye on. Andrew McCutchen with a runner at first. And as we look at the future of the Brewers, this is a good day to look back at Brewers past. Today is the 40th anniversary of Hank Aaron's 755th home run, his final home run as a major leaguer. Did it as a Brewer, 1976. To very little fanfare that day.
Who would have known, right?
He just kept going. Every time he hit one, it was a new record. Once he passed the Babe as a member of the Braves. There's a little monument on the ground in the parking lot of Miller Park that provides as a memento for that moment.
Still to many the home run king, Hammerin' Hank.
He's still the RBI king. Barry Bonds the all-time home run leader, but in Milwaukee and in Atlanta, everybody refers to the great Hank as the home run king. 40 years ago, I think that ball, I read somewhere, the ball that he hit, which landed in an empty space at County Stadium, by the way, ended up selling for something like $700,000 in the late 90s. I'm not sure where it's gone since, but yeah. Can you imagine getting your hands on that baseball 40 years ago? Somebody did okay with that one.
I'd like to be the guy that has enough money to be able to spend that kind of money on a baseball.
Yeah, just to have a ball, maybe the Honus Wagner card. You know, that's the most expensive piece of memorabilia that exists right now, the Honus Wagner mint condition baseball card from the tobacco company.
Just hobby money.
There's a shot, almost hits Torres. It's caught by Jeanette. Wow, right over the head of Carlos Torres, and Jeanette was there to make the play for the out.
That ball was hit like a bullet. So two hard hit balls by the Pirates against Torres. Look out. Ooh, able to get out of the way, and Scooter with good concentration. Probably didn't really see that one too well off the bat. Able to grab it and keep it in the glove. I guess if you had to do it over again, you kind of just lay it down on the ground and maybe get a double play.
That one was tagged off the bat. We'll check the exit velocity on that one. That was 100 plus.
The shift working that time.
Runner goes. Lucroy's throw to second late this time. Marte got a good jump. He and Jeanette slapping at each other at second base, and that is stolen base number 33. The series began with the top two base stealers in the game in VR and Marte is in there with a swipe.
Little different approach from Marte as opposed to Jonathan VR. Marte doesn't take as big a lead, and I would imagine as a result doesn't get as many throwovers to first base. A little bit more flat-footed, more of a upright runner. Jonathan VR gets as much as he can and stays low and digs it out, and both of them very fast.
And those two share the top spot in the major leagues in steals right now with 33 apiece. In scoring position with one out for Freese. And a shot left center. Trouble. That's going to go to the wall. Marte's in easily. And Freese will roll into second with an RBI double. And the Pirates have cut it to within a run.
Well, if you like offense, this is the game to be at. A lot of hits, a lot of runs. Outs are hard to come by tonight. Fastball middle in. Normally that's where you want to pitch David Freese, but left it out over the plate. Lucroy actually wanted that ball away, and with the stolen base, Marte able to walk home, which he indeed does.
So Freese with his first hit, his 40th RBI. And he's at second for Francisco Cervelli, who has a double and a run scored tonight. And he chases that first pitch. No, he didn't swing. Checked his swing. Much to the disappointment of the Brewers dugout. Two and 0. On the ground to VR. And he'll make the play at first. He thought about a throw to third to get the slow running Freese, but the sure out was at first. 2 outs in the inning. Freese at third now, the tying run. And Cervelli is out on a 6-3 putout. And here's Jung Ho Kang now. A strike from Torres. Torres has lived in these middle game appearances this year. He's done a good job for the Brewers. Been able to bridge the gap after a short start to get it into the late bullpen. He's a tough guy. I mean, you don't hear much out of Torres. He's a quiet guy. He appreciates every day he has in the big leagues.
Takes the ball whenever he's asked. He will give you 3 days in a row. He'll give you multiple innings if you need it. He's actually picked up a couple of saves this year.
Had saves in back-to-back games, as a matter of fact, in Atlanta. It had been a long time between saves for Carlos Torres. He went from 2014 to 2016 and only has 4 in his career. But he was big for the Brewers that night in Atlanta. Up and in again, missing high. 3 balls and a strike. Torres had a year in Japan back in 2011. He was a starter in Japan, and it didn't go well for him, but he learned a lot pitching in Japan. It's a much more contact league there, where you have to pitch to contact. Not a lot of strikeouts in that league, and he refined some of his breaking stuff. A swing and a miss. He gets a strikeout here. Gong punches out, and the inning is over. The Pirates get 1, but Torres exits with the lead. Go to the 6th inning. Jonathan Villar will lead off, and he's got company now at the top of the stolen base list. He and Marte, top 2 base stealers in baseball right now, partner.
I think Marte on the right there looks like he plays possum a little bit. You see him, he's on his heels. He doesn't have as big a lead. And Villar, I mean, they both get the full speed very quickly and very similar as they get about halfway to second base. But you can see the way these guys are able to get the full speed, and one of the reasons why they have been able to steal the bases that they have. But they start out much differently, I think. I mean, Marte, not a big lead. Villar, very big lead. And because of that, I think they throw over more on Villar.
Yeah, Villar does draw a lot of throws, a lot of close plays at first base. He's been picked off a number of times. Interesting. Villar shows bunt. He bunted his way on last time up.
You notice both of them kind of take a false step with their front foot. Not a big one. I mean, this is right up the Davey Nelson alley right here, talking about stealing bases. But yeah, both of them make a big impact with their legs.
It would not surprise me at all if Billy Hamilton starts to get on base like he's doing now. He is probably going to win that stolen base race this year. If he's getting on base, there's nobody that can steal bases like him. But that's a challenge.
And to score from second on a double play ball.
And that too. The fastest player in the major leagues, Billy Hamilton. Villar's had a great year in the running game. Like to cut down on his caught stealing. He takes off out of the box on a ball 4. putting the pressure on Cervelli. That's what you love about VR, though. He doesn't take any at bat, any moment for granted.
I thought he was going.
Just trying to draw a throw.
Never takes anything for granted. You're right. I mean, he gets the most out of every minute he's out there in the field. You love that energy that he brings. He's going to make mistakes, but he, the benefit that you get out of VR being aggressive on the bases far outweighs the mistakes that he makes.
33 successes. He's been caught 11 times.
Marte's been caught 7.
A few of those, to your point, though, about the big leads, I'd say half of those are pickoffs that are officially scored as caught stealing because he's breaking toward the base.
Right. You really don't mind sometimes in game situations getting caught at second base. It's making the third out at third, trying to steal third base with Braun, Lucroy at the plate with 2 outs. Those are mistakes that you can't make.
Got a lead runner on here. Perez on the ground. That's in the hole. A base hit for Hernan Perez. His 3rd time on, 2 hits and a walk. And the Brewers get it going again. 2 on with nobody out in the 6th.
Well, those 2 guys have been on 6 times tonight. Talked about Hernan Perez when we came on the air tonight, talking about how good he has been at the plate. They're starting to pitch him in a little bit more because he's so good going to right field. And he has shown he can handle that pitch as well. Both of his base hits tonight have come into left field. Yeah, that's right. They've been on 7 times, not 6.
Now, VR is 2 for 2 with 2 walks. Perez is 2 for 3 with 2 hits and a walk. And setting the table for Ryan Braun. Braun bounced into a double play in the 1st. It was a great play by Gung at 3rd. Diving stop, turned it into 2 outs. And then Braun with the bases loaded in the 4th. That's the at bat he wants back. He popped up weakly to short in the 4th inning with bases loaded and nobody out. Now he's up there with 2 men on base. VR dancing off the bag at 2nd. Schugel steps off. You can almost see it in the body language of VR. He really wants to steal this base. But with Ryan Braun at the plate, that becomes very risky. Dancing again, and a pickoff play. He certainly got the attention of the Pirates pitcher.
Yeah, just trying to disrupt his concentration, and in hopes that maybe he might throw one away or make a mistake to Braun here. And look what Josh Harrison is forced to do. I mean, he's playing second base over there, almost like a first baseman would, holding the runner on. Now he's going to back off a little bit.
And there he goes. And Braun takes, throw to 3rd is a bad one. And VR is in, so he regains the top spot in the Major League stolen base category. A double steal is executed for the 2nd time tonight.
Very risky. Very risky, but he was able to make it. Not a very good throw by Cervelli. It bounced. Even with all that, and as close as Josh Harrison was to second base, he's still able to steal it. Ray Counsell says all base stealers are risk takers, but I think Jonathan VR takes it to the next level.
Hey, Gung puts his legs right in there on the base, doesn't he? Trying to block the runner from sliding to the bag. Now 2nd and 3rd. Infield end. Braun at the plate. And the ball inside.
1 feet first slide will eliminate that.
I'm with you.
Stop doing that.
There's nowhere to go. He stepped on his hand. He never did get to the base until he got it with his leg. So if that's a decent throw at all, VR is going to be out. I'm kind of shocked Gung still does that after the broken leg last year.
Yeah, a lot of guys do that. And really, by the letter of the law, you're not able to block off a base. You're not even able to block off home plate these days. but that's never called.
There's no fear with a head first slider.
Right. And they all do it. How many times do you see a guy go in feet first? Hardly ever. The old Ty Cobb spikes high slide.
That was Cobb and Honus Wagner. They had those.
Right.
See who could get their spikes the sharpest. World Series, as a matter of fact. Did you go to that World Series? Braun fouls it away.
Couldn't get a ticket.
They were, at the time, the two greatest players in the game. Honus Wagner, thought to be the greatest shortstop ever. And, of course, Ty Cobb. Original Hall of Famers, those two.
Yeah. Honus Wagner has a statue outside the ballpark here.
Full count to Ryan Braun. Pirates franchise goes back to the original National League, or the American Association, and then the National League. The senior circuit, 1887. Full count to Braun. Second and third. And it's outside. Ball 4. Braun draws the walk. Bases are loaded once again.
A lot of walks issued by the Pirates tonight. They're showing good patience at the plate. A lot of base runners from Milwaukee.
Well, Lucroy on Saturday, Powerball home run number 12 against John Lamb.
After the mystery check swing kept him alive, and very next pitch hit a home run.
Lucroy always honest.
The mystery foul tip, rather.
Said he did not tip it. He missed it. Got a break. Cashed it in.
Told me he hit the plate with his bat. Didn't look like it, but got an extra swing and made it count.
Lucroy fouls it away. Big spot for the Brewers here. They're up 5-4. Pirates just got one in the bottom of the 5th inning. Tough day to be a pitching coach in a game like this. Feels like all pitchers are grinding. Derek Johnson for the Brewers, Ray Searage for the Pirates. Earning their money tonight. And a few gray hairs. Brewers have had a ton of base runners tonight. Second time they've had them loaded in the last 3 innings. Lucroy pulls it foul. Look out.
Yeah, 14th at bat for the Brewers. Make that 15th, including the walk to Braun. But right now, 3 for 13 with runners in scoring position. Once again, getting men on base, not the issue. Driving them in. Got to do a better job of that in the second half.
Lucroy down 0-2. A.J. Schugel, his second inning, and Lucroy does not bite. Schugel came on in the 5th, faced 3 batters. He had a strikeout and a double play ball after giving up a single. This one's been a grind, though. Nobody out, bases loaded, and Lucroy takes a ball. Lucroy down the line, a base hit. Marte able to cut it off. This is going to score 2, and it'll be a single for Lucroy. The Brewers add to their lead at 7-4 Milwaukee.
What a nice at bat by Lucroy, able to get the count even at 2-2 after falling behind 0-2, and got one of those 2-seam fastballs up in his zone, out over the plate, and he drills it down the line and left. Scoring a couple of big runs. So there's your hit with a man in scoring position. The Brewers now 4 for 14. And Jonathan Lucroy driving in a pair. Our Badger Mutual Insurance runs of the game. A 2-run single.
We'll take as many as you can get in a game like this. So a pitching change is coming. Dave Jouse, the acting manager after Clint Hurdle was ejected in the 1st, goes to the home plate umpire, and a double switch is in order here. Lucroy with a 2 RBI single. Gives him 47 runs batted in. Continues his hitting ways. And we got a pitching change at PNC Park. Still nobody. Sports Wisconsin is brought to you by Miller Lite, the original light Pilsner. Cheers, it's Miller time. Downtown Pittsburgh, PNC Park, and the Brewers now lead 7-4 as Jonathan Lucroy just drove in 2 with the bases loaded. Still nobody out. Pitching change here. First double switch. Adam Frazier is the new 3rd baseman for the Pirates, and Rockets Archimedes Caminero on the mound now with runners at the corners.
Well, you can see Caminero, hard thrower, but walks a number of batters. 21 walks, 29 strikeouts in 35 2/3 innings. Has not been very good retiring his first batter when he's come in, and inherited runners. 8 of 21 have scored.
Chris Carter at the plate. Brewers lead by 3 with 10 hits already as we play in the 6th, and Carter pulls one foul.
He's only retired 18 of 34 batters Meaning the first batter that he's faced when he's come into the game. That's not very good.
Carter has an RBI via a walk with the bases loaded. That came in the fourth. He's doubled today. Back in the second inning. Four consecutive base runners. 2 walks, 2 hits.
A few days removed from an 18-inning game for the Pirates. Not exactly what Clint Hurdle and the Pirates were hoping for. A very short start by Jeff Locke. 3 innings. Really taxing that bullpen.
Carter in the air, left center. Braun has great speed at third. This will be plenty deep for him. And the throw comes into second base. Carter has another RBI, and the Brewers add to it. It is 8-4 now.
You see that swing and how deep that ball went? I thought that was going to be a pop up in the infield when he made contact. But Chris Carter very strong. He's already doubled with one hand tonight. Check this out. Little flick of the wrist. Carter upset, but it's going to drive in a run. Way out in front, but deep enough to score Braun from third base.
If you just take that image and you say, what is the result of that swing? And you don't see anything else but the side swing. You'd say F6.
Pop up, right?
Pop up.
That's what I thought.
And it was in medium center field. Deep enough where McCutchen doesn't even bother with a throw to the plate.
Right.
Gosh, amazing power.
Second time tonight he's done that.
Jeanette now with runner at first. Lucroy, 1 out in the inning. Big swing by Scooter. All right, so you tell me, where's this going to end up? He's certainly beat, and look how far it goes. Not many can send them that far with that swing.
Yeah, just strong. That's all you can say about that.
Cue shot, got a chance to turn it here. Frazier to the bag at second and over to first in a double play. So that'll end the inning, but the Brewers add to their lead. They score 3 times. They lead 8-4. lead by 4 as we go to the bottom of the 6th. Hey, a reminder that nobody sees sports quite the way Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock do. You can catch Colin and Jason on FS1's new daily sports talk show, Speak for Yourself, weekdays 5 p.m. Central. We had a full moon yesterday, right?
Yeah.
So we're past the full moon phase tonight, right? But it looks pretty full.
Full enough.
Moving into some kind of gibbous level.
You know,
tonight.
strange things happen on a full moon. That was yesterday. What happened that was strange?
The way the game ended was strange.
There you go. There's one.
What a shot, huh? Or as Bob Uecker would say, Don Zimmer.
As Jacob Barnes continues here for the Brewers here in the 6th inning. 15th appearance for Barnes, a .420 earned run average. Fastball slider for Barnes. He throws a cutter.
He'll face Josh Harrison to start the inning. Brewers lead by 4.
And Barnes gave up a run in an inning of work his last time out. That was Sunday against the Reds.
.98 with the fastball from Barnes right there. You know that Bob Uecker story, right? He was calling the World Series
Right.
on NBC with Bob Costas and Joe Morgan. And it was a real intense moment in the World Series. And all these single shots of Yankee faces were popping up. Derek Jeter, and there's a ground ball to Carter. Joe Torre. And then there's a pause. And then the director takes a shot of the moon. And then Bob Uecker jumps on Bob Costas and says, Don Zimmer.
Only you.
That's a great line. The late Don Zimmer.
Yeah.
But the moon does kind of look like Don Zimmer. Put a Yankee hat on him.
Boy, how long was he in baseball?
Oh man, 60 years. We right before he passed in Tampa Bay, we'd see him every now and then on the field. That was always a thrill.
Yep.
Always.
He said he never drew a paycheck outside of baseball in his life.
How about that? Man, to say that. Heck, Bob Uecker's kind of in that territory right now.
He was a scout, though, for a while.
Yeah, that's right. Mashed potatoes on the scouting report.
But that's in baseball.
Right. He drew quite a few paychecks from Hollywood.
Yeah.
Big ones.
I was going to say, yeah.
The big, heavy ones, the kind that sustain you for a while.
Mr. Belvedere. Saturday Night Live.
There he is, Mr. Baseball.
Good to have him on the road. Back-to-back road trips for you.
Makes the 4 o'clock bus rides a lot more fun. No offense to Jeff Levering, but we're not being entertained like we are with Uecker. There's a strikeout for Barnes. 2 quick outs here in the 6th. We love Jeff. Jeff's doing a great job. Lane Grindle. But there's only one Mr. Baseball, right? Kind of counting on you to provide some of that humor on the 4 o'clock bus.
You can't try to be you. That doesn't end well when you try and be funny like you.
And that guy behind him, Kent Sommerfeld, has been with him 30 years. Slow roller. Barnes pounces on it. Throw to first is a bad one. And it's going to get into right field and all the way to second base goes Frazier. His first at bat.
That'll probably be a hit and an error. Or maybe just a flat error. I think a good throw. He gets him at first base. A swinging bunt, a jam shot. Barnes gets there in time, and the good throw is going to get him off the mark, and he'll end up at second base.
It'll be an infield hit and then a throwing error by Barnes. And a man on with 2 outs. Jacob's got some family here this week in Pittsburgh. coming up from Florida. He shows a lot of promise. You can see why the Brewers are so high on him. Had command problems when he was first drafted. He was drafted as a project pitcher, basically. Hard thrower who was very wild. And it's been a long process through the minor leagues. He's 26, getting his first year at the big league level. But he's done a good job.
Yeah, he's been able to throw strikes. I mean, 4 walks, 17 strikeouts, and 15 innings before tonight.
At a Florida Gulf Coast University, drafted in 2011. He was dominating AAA. One thing you like about his numbers, Rock, is strikeouts per 9 innings.
Right.
He's at 10.2, and his walks per 9 are at 2.5.
Nothing wrong with that. I wouldn't worry too much about Frazier at second base, though. I mean, concentrate on Blanco here. Or I should say Polanco.
Top of the order man.
Up by 4 runs. I don't think he's going anywhere.
Jacob Barnes. Strikeout to walk ratio is up over 4-1 at this point. He's given up as many hits as innings pitched. That's a high number, but there's a lot to like about Jacob Barnes. Got an electric arm. Another pickoff play, close, and just back is Frazier.
VR trying to sell it out there. Not too many guys have the energy of Jonathan VR. Brewers had one for a while.
And Carlos Gomez.
Yeah.
Saw Gomez and Mike Fiers exchange some words in the Astros dugout the other day. Fiers and A.J. Hinch as well. That's a swing. Unable to check it, Polanco, and the count is at 1-2 now.
Astros have been playing some pretty good baseball, though. They got off to a horrendous start.
Yeah, they're clicking at the heels of the Rangers right now.
Yeah, they're 6 games over 500 right now.
And they won today. They shut out the A's. Doug Fister got the win for Houston today.
Yeah, 7 games over.
Texas plays tonight. Little flare in the left, and that's going to fall a base hit. So Polanco just reached out and serves one to the opposite field. A 2-out RBI.
The Brewers just can't get away with a mistake. They just can't. I mean, it seems like every time they make a mistake, it's cost them a run. 2 games before this when it cost them the game, actually, a pass ball and an error. Little jam shot, little flare into left field. Polanco able to drive in a run with 2 outs. So the swinging bunt called a hit, and the throwing error cost the Brewers a run.
And it's a 3-run game now, 8-5. And Barnes back to work. He's got Marte now. Oh, there's a good slider. Bottle that one up. You can stay a long time in the big leagues with that pitch.
Yep, down and away. Something on it. He can throw that pitch about 90 miles an hour.
Marte and McCutchen, very good fastball hitters. Wow, 92 with a slider. Or is that just a fastball with cut?
That's a cutter. I mean, that's more the cutter than the slider. He's got 2.
So
that has a little bit more depth, goes down a little bit. He can't throw that one at 92. That more the cutter.
That's filthy. There aren't many alive throwing that pitch. See what he does here.
Throw it again.
And a fastball. Marte got jammed. Jeanette's waving, and he's got it for the out to end the inning. So a run comes in to score. be an unearned run, but a run nonetheless, and it's a 3-run game. As we go to the 7th inning, and our carsoup.com trivia tonight, Rock. Brewers coach finished 9th in the Rookie of the Year voting in 1983. If you had the former Pirate Lee Tunnell, you would be correct.
Yeah.
Top 9, that's pretty good. Darryl Strawberry won it that year.
Lee could pitch. That was my first year in the big leagues, 83.
Where did you finish in the Rookie of the Year vote?
Yeah, funny.
I couldn't even finish it.
He did, though.
The full voting down to 9.
My buddy Greg Brock on the list.
He got 1 vote. I'd love to know who the vote was. I wonder if Lee knows the answer to that.
Who voted for him?
Yeah, he got 1 vote that year. The bullpen coach for the Brewers. Will Middlebrook starting the inning, and a wave and a miss. Down he goes. A strikeout. You know, Lee Tunnell, he's from where I'm from, and he was a legend in the Central Texas area. And he went to Baylor and made it all the way to the big leagues. He loved pitching here in Pittsburgh. Had a little time with the Cardinals at the end as well.
Good man, Lee Tunnell. He knows pitching. And before he came up here to the major leagues as a bullpen coach, he was very highly thought of down in the minor leagues with the young players. And we saw Lee Tunnell and Derek Johnson at our spot this morning for breakfast.
Invading our secret breakfast location. Ground ball, foul, pass first. We'll reveal our secret breakfast location at a later date, but we still have one more breakfast.
We don't want too many people showing up.
There's only, I don't know, 10 or 12 seats in the whole place, so we can't let the news get out too quickly, just in case people want to join us. Like Pokemon, you know, with this breakfast place. It's like people walking around running into walls on their phone.
Trying to find the diner.
Trying to find the diner. Or a Pokemon. 0-2 pitch to Flores. Do you have any idea what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the Pokemon?
Well, I've heard about the Pokemon phenomenon. I see signs on the freeway telling people not to be, trying to find Pokemon in the car. He can wait. Sounds dangerous to me.
Flores to center. That ball's hit pretty well, but McCutchen is there. And it's a second out.
Well, keep up with the Brew Crew wherever you are with MLB.com at bat, the official app of the Brewers, featuring live broadcasts, scoring updates, breaking news, Pokemon updates, and more. Download at bat today, free for your smartphone or tablet.
I was thinking about the Pokemon craze, and I was trying to make a connection as Elmore pinch hits. He bunts down the third base line, and he is going to be safe. A base hit for Jake Elmore, his second hit as a Brewer, and it's a 2-out base runner for Milwaukee.
Yeah, they're going to give it to you. Why not, right? Brings the top of the order up. And the top of the order has been money tonight. And waits as long as he can to square around, drops it down, and Frazier really not able to get much of a handle on it, and Elmore able to beat it at first base. So inning alive.
Second bunt hit for the Brewers tonight. They have 11 hits total. VR had the other one, and he's up there now with a runner at first. No, but I think we could use the Pokemon idea to promote your book. If These Walls Could Talk, written by Bill Schroeder and Drew Olson. In stores now.
And how would you do that?
I don't know. We need to take the next step. I'm just the idea man. I'm not the execution guy.
Actually, the name of the diner's in the book.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Well, a little buried treasure.
So
right
maybe
there
we shouldn't tell anybody what the diner's name is.
What page is that on? It's right by my picture, I think.
It's in there.
Runner goes, and the throw to second gets by Mercer. He's looking at his glove to find the hole. Elmore with a stolen base.
Kind of laid the glove right out there and thought the ball was in it, just wasn't able to hold on to it. Maybe just skims right off the end of the glove, and Elmore now into scoring position. That's why you bunt with 2 outs and nobody on. Typically you don't want to do that, but if you can bunt, steal a base. And that's one that Jordy Mercer should have been able to handle. That would have been an out had he been able to catch it, and he should have.
You got to make that play. Well, the Brewers can add to their lead here. They're up 3. VR has been on base all 4 times at the plate. 2 walks, 2 hits. Had an RBI single in the second. Walked, stole a base, scored a run in the 6th inning. Brewers are 4 for 15 tonight. 15 at bats with runners in scoring position. Two balls and a strike. And a shot. Ricochets right out to Harrison. That'll end the inning. First time VR's been retired. Brewers come up empty in the 7th. It's stretch time at PNC Park in Pittsburgh. It's 8-5 Brewers. And the Pirates are coming up. Don't forget Saturday, MLB on FS1 is back with a doubleheader. You got Giants Yankees at Yankee Stadium, and then the Rangers will match up against the Royals in a game you can only see on FS1. Action starts at 3 Central on FS1, or you can watch it live on Fox Sports Go. Giants are in Boston this week, and that game is still in progress. It is 10-7 Red Sox in the 6th inning. Yankees shut out the Orioles tonight, 5-0. Tyler Thornburg is on to pitch for the Brewers with a 3-run lead, 7th inning. And McCutchen leading the way.
And Thornburg took his 4th loss of the season last night. Gave up the triple to Josh Harrison, scored on the error.
Oh, and 2 on McCutchen. By the way, in that Red Sox Giants game, Hanley Ramirez has hit 3 home runs tonight. Has 11 now. That is a wild game. There have been 2 5-run innings in that game. They're only in the 7th inning. Started same time we did here tonight. We got them beat by half an inning right now, Rob.
I was going to say, this one's not moving along too quickly either.
Tell you, that race in the American League East is tightening quickly. With the Yankees win over the Orioles, a Red Sox win would have Boston in first place after tonight. Toronto's in the picture there. They beat Arizona tonight, 10-4.
They're first to 4, 6.5 games in that American League East. Anybody's alive there.
Cleveland leads the Central. Rangers lead the Astros in the AL West, but Texas' lead is dwindling. And the Astros won again tonight. Texas plays Anaheim a little bit later. Shortly they'll be getting started. There's a swing and a miss. McCutchen strikes out, 0 for 4 tonight. And they talk about McCutchen's struggles. He doesn't look like the same player.
Yeah, just you know, knock on wood till you get out of town, because that guy's going to heat up at some point. Too good a hitter. Got him to chase a high fastball.
And a nod to Thornburg. He's doing a lot of nodding after outs. Did the same thing to Anderson after a strikeout in the first.
Yep, on a change up. This time Thornburg put the fastball right where he wanted it, up out of the strike zone, and he got him to chase.
David Freese, a high fastball. He's late, fouls it away. The National League division leaders are the Nationals, up 4.5 on the Marlins. Nationals beat the Dodgers today, 8-1.
Cubs coming back to the pack a little bit.
Yeah, Chicago did win today. They beat the Mets, and the Cardinals won as well. Cardinals have a doubleheader to play today. They were rained out yesterday. Matter of fact, Cardinals are they won their first game, and they're leading in the second game of that series. So St. Louis a chance to get within 7. Given the Cubs' history, that's not out of question.
No. You just never know what can happen. A lot of baseball to be played, and you didn't think the Cubs were going to continue to win at the pace that they did as they started out the year. First, what, 2.5 months?
Yeah, they were talking about the all-time win total, the Mariners record.
Yeah. Runaway freight train. They just couldn't lose.
Really curious to see what the Dodgers do now. If in fact Kershaw is done for the year or is going to require surgery. The Dodgers can't acquire enough pieces to win a World Series. That ball's hit well. Freese sends one off the high wall and right. And it's going to be another double for David Freese. That's his second of the game. That is a 21-foot wall in honor of the great 21, Roberto Clemente. And
that's a home run in any ballpark with this one. I'll tell you, that guy can hit some vicious line drives, but this is not a very good pitch by Thornburg. Watch where it ends up. Right down the middle. And David Freese, very good going to the opposite field, high off that fence. And another run in scoring position.
Pirates got one last inning to make it a 3-run game. The Clemente wall. And it kept the ball in the ballpark that time. Here's Cervelli now with a runner at second, one away. That one misses.
And the high wall makes up with a short porch down the right field line.
It's only 320 down the line, and then there's no alley to that. It goes straight out to the 375 mark. And there's a lot of crazy bounces off that wall as well. It's unique. Over to third base. Middlebrooks across the diamond and out number 2. Freese stays put. Thornburg's going to see a pinch hitter now, John Jaso. Spot was occupied by the pitcher after the double switch. 6th spot in the batting order, so Jaso enters. Started at first base last night, took the collar, and he'll get an at bat with a man at second. A strike in there on Jaso. Thornburg was on the mound for the ending last night. Took the loss. Harrison drove one off the wall in right center to lead off the inning, and then the throwing error allowed him to score.
And Tyler suffered losses in each of the last 2 games before tonight. Cincinnati and last night against the Pirates. Been a rough start to the second half for him.
Two outs, 7th inning. And a swing and a miss. Got him with a strikeout. Inning is over. A double doesn't hurt Thornburg. Hernan Perez will bat. He leads off when we go to the 8th.
The Pirates as we head to the 8th. Hernan Perez leading off this inning, and great production from the top of the order for the Brewers tonight. Perez has 2 hits and has been on base 3 times with a walk as well, and last night he drove in both runs for the Brewers, but the big one that stood out was the ninth and what Craig Counsell called on everything on the line at bat. It was a 2-out, 2-straight single off of the all-star closer Mark Melancon last night that tied the game. And Counsell said, it was important for Perez to get that opportunity and be successful in that situation. He said it was a great battle for him at the plate against very good pitchers. So when he has that kind of confidence and success in that situation, he said it is just one at bat, but it's something that he can certainly build off of moving forward, and certainly he's done that here tonight.
Yeah, he certainly has. Been a terrific tandem at the top of the order tonight. Good pull by Craig Counsell with VR and Perez. On base 7 times between them. We're going to see Juan Nicasio now, Rock. He'll get the 8th inning with Perez, Braun, and Lucroy coming up.
Man, Nicasio pitched 3 innings in relief. Did not allow a run in that Sunday 18-inning game against Washington. So he's back at it here tonight. A .510 earned run average, more strikeouts than innings pitched, but he has allowed 13 home runs.
Brewers lead 8-5. They've out-hit the Pirates 11-10. Been a lot of traffic on the bases tonight. Brewers have stranded 8. Pirates have stranded 7. And we finally get to the 8th. I'm guessing, by the way, Counsell has set up his bullpen now. He's got Thornburg back in the 7th inning spot and Will Smith in the setup role for Jeffress. Smith is loosening in the Brewers bullpen right now.
A lot of the times he bases the rotation on where they are with the batting order of the opponent. I mean, Thornburg just went through the middle of the order for the Pirates. Will Smith will come on to face the bottom of the order. Not sure that has anything to do with it, but that's the way it's working out here tonight.
Hernan 2 for 3. Singled, stole a base, scored a run in the 6th inning.
And 12 of the 22 appearances for Nicasio were as a starter. So he was in the starting rotation for a while, back out into the bullpen now.
And it got him a strikeout for Nicasio. Pirates have plowed through the pitchers tonight. Their starter, Jeff Locke, only lasted 3 innings. Started the 4th, but did not get an out in that 4th inning. Nicasio is the 4th reliever, the 5th pitcher overall. As Braun fouls one into the net. Ryan has scored twice tonight, has a hit. He's 1 for 3 with a walk. Had a hit taken away from him in the 1st on a diving stop by Gung, the starting 3rd baseman. Gung has since been double switched out of the game. Chase Anderson started for the Brewers. He gave up 3 runs in 4 innings. Torres, Barnes, and Thornburg all pitching an inning. Braun down the right field line. That's hit well. That is off the wall fair and takes a huge bounce. And Braun on his way to 3rd. It'll be a stand-up triple for Ryan Braun. Smoked one off the wall in right field.
Yeah, right on that corner. There's an area that juts out just a little bit. It hit right on the corner, and Polanco had to run it down out there in the right field. And Ryan Braun able to get all the way around to 3rd base. So with Jonathan Lucroy coming up, the Brewers have an opportunity to extend the lead. Right there, you can see Polanco was waiting for it at the line, but kicked out. And that's what allowed Braun to get to 3rd base. So a triple for Brony.
And he's at 3rd with 1 out, his 2nd hit of the night. Here's Lucroy now, a chance to drive in another one. He drove in 2 with a single in the 6th inning. Key at bat in this game. Brewers had him loaded up with nobody out in the 6th, and Lucroy delivered.
Not a very good 0-2 pitch, was it, from Nicasio? He gave Braun one to hit right in his wheelhouse, out over the plate.
Able to check his swing. 8 runs on 12 hits. RBIs tonight from the pitcher, Chase Anderson. He drove in the first one in this game. You had Lucroy with 2. And Lucroy to left, hit well. Marte is over. He's got it. And Braun will cruise in. A sac fly by Lucroy, and the Brewers back to a 4-run lead. It's 9-5 now.
Yeah, good job by Luke to wait back on that breaking pitch and hit it hard down the line. Pretty much the same spot that he got his single to drive in a couple of runs his last time up. So 3 RBIs for Lucroy tonight.
Gives him 48 for the season. Good night at the plate for Lucroy. Two outs, nobody on, and here is Carter, who has 2 RBIs tonight. Sac fly, and he got an RBI on a bases loaded walk.
Thought they might walk Lucroy there. Maybe set up a double play. Went right after him.
Carter fouls it away. Ball and 2 strikes on Chris. Carter's the Brewers RBI leader. With his 2 tonight, he has 54. And then Lucroy, and then Braun. Carter almost hit one out in the 2nd off the top of the wall. He missed it by about a foot.
And most guys, when they swing one-handed, they're out in front and they're just hoping to foul a ball off. Chris Carter gets doubles and sac flies
Off the fence.
doing that, right? One thing that does, you take off that top hand, it keeps the bat in the hitting zone a little bit longer, and you're able to stay alive. But Carter makes things happen when he does that.
You could invent a new phrase for him. He has, you know how you talk about guys with power and you say he has pole to pole power. With Carter, he has one-handed power. He can hit him out with one hand.
He almost did.
Three-two pitch, and Carter takes ball 4. Second walk of the game for Carter. He's had 5 plate appearances. He's just 1 for 2 today. And the inning continues. A man is on with 2 outs for Jeanette. We're talking earlier about that Honus Wagner Ty Cobb confrontation in the World Series. That was in the 1909 World Series. And that series went 7 games, Rock. The Tigers used 5 pitchers for the whole series.
That's pretty much standard, wasn't it? Back then.
Pittsburgh used 6. But you think about tonight's game, and
Yeah, what do you think they're thinking, these guys? You know, back in those days, you have 8 relievers in your bullpen. You had guys pitching back ends of double headers. First and second game.
old school.
And then working out of the bullpen the next day.
It's so funny because Babe Adams, who was the winning pitcher in the decisive Game 7. Pirates won that World Series. He pitched in Game 7. He pitched in Game 5. Started now. He started in Game 2 and won. Babe Adams logged some innings in that series.
Yeah.
Ty Cobb did not hit well in that series, but Honus Wagner did. As Cobb was trying to send every member of the Pittsburgh Pirates to the hospital. There's a called strike. I love those old baseball stories.
Yeah, that's what you see in the Hall of Fame. I mean, stuff like that. Back in the beginning of the major leagues, that's great stuff. The equipment, you know, the baseballs, the uniforms, the gloves.
They called Honus Wagner the Flying Dutchman. A Pennsylvania native, and he was one of the first real stars of the game at the turn of the century. Two to Jeanette. Full count.
What was Ty Cobb in that series?
What were his stats?
Yeah.
He hit like 220 or something like that. About 200 points lower than what everybody expected, I guess. A swing and a miss. Jeanette strikes out. Inning is over. Brewers get a run, though. They lead by 4 now. And we're going to the bottom of the 8th. Here comes Will Smith. I was kind of thinking he might deliver a Honus Wagner story today, but
Yeah,
that'll do.
We were kind of hoping. We kind of egged him on early in the day today. But
Number 46. He went Paul Harvey on us right there.
we got to figure out what Jerry remembers about that game. As Will Smith continues here, his 21st appearance. Terrific numbers for Will, a .212 earned run average and a .175 opponent batting average. The bottom three in the batting order due up for the Pirates.
Think about that. Jeff's been sitting on that information for a long time. A pregame show ended 3.5 hours ago. Delivered.
Are you complimenting him or?
I'm not sure, but
Oh,
you know, he hung in there. It's all about timing. There's a drive into right center. And this is going to stay playable for Perez. Josh Harrison flies out. Jeff Grayson's always good for those interesting sidebar nuggets. He was a big fan.
he's never a guy that would ever mail it in. I mean, he does extra work. I mean, his emails in the morning before the conference calls.
Immaculate.
Amazing.
Great notes.
Good stuff. Thanks, Jeff.
Jordy Mercer at the plate for the Pirates. Last day of the series tomorrow. Brewers are headed home after the game, starting a series with the Cubs on Friday night.
Nice long homestand coming up.
That's Garza tomorrow in the finale. Over to third. That took a bad hop. Nice play by Middlebrooks. And he gets Mercer. Had to redirect at the last moment.
Hey, this summer you can see both the Brew Crew and the Zoo for one low price for just $20. You'll get a ticket to a Brewers game, an adult general admission ticket to the Milwaukee County Zoo, and a free lunch cooler. For details, go to brewers.com/zoo.
Sean Rodriguez will pinch hit. Had a home run earlier this year against Milwaukee back in April. Smith with 2 quick outs. Just getting better and better. It's such a incredible season for Smith when you thought he was lost for the year in spring training. Thought he was going to have knee surgery. Tore the lateral, the LCL, the lateral collateral ligament, and that's a hard ligament to tear, doctors say, because of its location. Sometimes skiers have that injury, but he tore his ligament taking off his shoe while standing, untied. But the tear wasn't significant enough for surgery. They thought he could rehab it. It'd be a long process, and give him a lot of credit. He plowed through 2 months of rehab, strengthened the area around it. I'm assuming the ligament is still torn somewhat.
Yeah, well, he and Dan Wright and the Brewers athletic training staff doing a great job to get him back out on the field.
It's always a victory when you can avoid surgery. So many players are just having surgery so quickly, and I think the Brewers are at the head of the class from the medical side of things about trying to take all measures to avoid surgery. Surgery is not always the best option, but it puts the pressure back on the player to make sure you do all the necessary steps to be great at your rehab in those lonely, long days and weeks, months, just trying to get yourself back right. And it has to do with everything around the injury a lot of the times. There's a swing and a miss. Good inning from Will Smith. 3 up, 3 down with a strikeout. We go to the 9th inning already. 9-5 Brewers. PNC Park, we go to the 9th, a sellout crowd to start here tonight, over 36,000. Miller Lite, what's on tap? Francisco Liriano against Matt Garza tomorrow. A couple of high-priced pitchers with ERAs in the 5s.
Yeah, look at Liriano having a rough year. He used to be one of the best. Matt Garza looking for a turnaround.
There's a reason those smiles are so big, though. Garza having a good time. Sean Rodriguez takes over at third. Will Middlebrooks will lead off for the Brew Crew. Nicasio back out there. Brewers Live coming your way, post-game edition with Jeff Grayson and Jerry Augustine, who wore the same number as the pitcher that gave up Hank Aaron's 755th home run 40 years ago. Grayson did say he's got a lot of Honus Wagner nuggets
For tomorrow?
prepared for tomorrow.
All right.
I mean, you know, it's like a fine wine. You gotta know when to deliver that kind of information. That's a called strike 3, and Middlebrooks is retired. One away in the 9th. The Red Sox and the Giants are in the 8th inning. It is 11-7 Boston. And the story in that one is Hanley Ramirez for the Red Sox. He's hit 3 home runs tonight, 6 RBIs, and he's going to get another at bat. No player from the Dominican Republic has ever homered 4 times in a game. That is a major league record. There's a number of players that hold that. Saw one at Miller Park a few years ago. That's Sean Green.
Many years ago. Yeah.
Of the Dodgers. Angels and the Rangers are underway. 4-0 Angels. They've won 6 straight. Angels are making it hard on the Texas Rangers, who are desperate for starting pitching right now.
Angels have a long way to go. 9 games under 500.
An Angels win tonight, and the Houston Astros would benefit the most. They would be within 3.5 of Texas. Astros won a day game today in Seattle. Flores to first, and this will be out number 2. 2 up, 2 down for Nicasio. It's a good time to start taking a look at the wild card standings as well. Once you get past the All-Star break, there's a number of teams that are contending for the wild card. Pittsburgh is in that picture. They're only 2.5 back of the second wild card spot. Starting play today. Got the Dodgers, the Marlins are the 2 that are in right now. And then the Mets, Cardinals, Pirates. Looks like it's going to be 5 teams for 2 spots, if I had to forecast it right now, in the National League. A lot more teams involved in the American League. Boston and Toronto. Boston could leapfrog the Orioles tonight, by the way, which would put Baltimore and Toronto in the wild card position. But you got the Astros, the Tigers. Yankees are 5 out of the wild card. Mariners are 5.5. Royals. All those teams are over 500. And he goes, and it's a strikeout. Neuenhuis pinch hitting, punches out to end the inning. Last call for the Buccos. Brewers trying to win. Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. Lights are up. The sellout crowd, most of them, half of them have left. And the Brewers lead 9-5 and 3 outs away from finishing this one off. Kirk Neuenhuis, after a pinch hit appearance, will stay in the game to play center. And Craig Counsell taking no chances with a 4-run lead. He'll bring on his closer, Jeremy Jeffress.
Well, he needs to work. It's not, he hasn't been able to get much work so far in the second half of the season. 42nd appearance for Jeremy, a 2-2 record, that .229 earned run average for the Brewers closer. He did pitch last night, tossed a scoreless 8th inning.
Top of the order coming up. Polanco will lead off. Singled in a run his last time up. Brewers scored a run in the 8th to push it to a 4-run lead. Brewers getting good work out of their bullpen tonight. Thornburg works the 7th, Smith the 8th. Short start for Chase Anderson, pitching just 4 innings. Torres and Barnes giving up runs. Barnes' run was an unearned run. That play in the 6th inning on the bunt was a straight error scoring change. If you're wondering why the hits are as they are, if you're keeping the book at home. So that was a straight error on Barnes. That run came around to score. It was an unearned run. But just to clean it up.
Shall we bring up the CC Sabathia play then?
Oh my goodness. Why would you do that?
I mean, if that's a hit, if that's an error there.
That's the same play. Oh, I mean, it was not even the same play.
Right.
It was much.
It was easier.
Much easier.
And he booted it.
Why you got to go there? We're having a good night. Things are going well. The Brewers are leading.
I just can't get over that. I mean, that's something that's
a long time ago.
I can't get past it.
That was 8 years ago, Rock.
Don't care.
Shake yourself, man. Polanco fouls it back. That was awful, though. It really was.
It's not like I think about it all the time. But
I've been thinking about it.
When you have a play like that today, and that's an error.
Different score tonight. Yep, that was the only thing separating CC Sabathia and a no-hitter that day in Pittsburgh. 2008. On a little comebacker by Andy LaRoche on a bunt. CC just dropped it, and then he couldn't make a play.
Right.
Anyway, thanks for bringing that up.
First thing that popped into my head when he changed that decision.
Everything away to Polanco. Jeffers has him 2-2 inside, and a strikeout on a breaking ball.
Beauty. That's a nice curveball right there. Yesterday was the first time that Jeffers had thrown since the end of the first half, July 10th. And look at this. And no signs of any rust with that curveball.
He's one of the rare closers that throws a curveball, which acts as a change of pace pitch. You saw Polanco way out in front. Jeffers also has that split change. He's been breaking out a lot this year. That's been the difference maker for him. There's another spinner in there for a strike. That was just a beautiful sequence, though, from Jeffers. Everything's outside, away. Got Polanco looking away, and then he, as they say, changes the eye level. And Polanco didn't come close.
Back foot breaking pitch.
Marte to center. Neuenhuis is out there now. And there's out number 2. It's an important time to keep tabs on the Brewers. You feel like every day you could show up and there'd be breaking news. We're approaching the trade deadline, July 31st, and there are so many players that are being rumored right now. Craig Counsell was asked how you deal with all of that. Is he involved at all? He goes, not really. They keep me abreast of the situation. Matt Arnold, the assistant GM, is here. And David Stearns, the general manager.
He's got enough to do to manage the guys that he has, let alone worrying about what's going on outside of that. That's a full-time job, what he's got going on.
I was talking to Matt Arnold earlier today, and there's just a great sense of teamwork with that group. Stearns and Arnold and Counsell, and all the way up to ownership, of course, with Mark Atanasio. But there's a good vibe. Those guys are well connected, and they're busy right now.
They got a plan. They're looking at all kinds of different players down in the minor leagues for potential trades. And
the guy who deserves big credit right now is Zach Manassian, who's the scouting director on the pro side. So his scouts, he's sending them to all these various locations to watch players, mostly prospects at this point. When you're a seller, you look at prospects. When you're a buyer, you look at big league players. Brewers are sellers this year. But everybody's on their toes for sure. That's a shot into the shift, knocked down by Jeanette, throw to first, and it's dug out by Carter to end the game. What a play by Scooter. A rocket right at him, and he makes an excellent play to end the game. Jeffress works a scoreless ninth, and the Brewers pick up the win tonight. A 9-5 final score, their second win of the year in Pittsburgh, and this series is all even at a game apiece. Jeff Grayson ready to roll. It's time for Brewers Live postgame. Let's send it to our Fox Sports Wisconsin studios. Take it away, Jeff.